I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome.
No Carlin, Jake Asman sitting in for the big fella. I find it interesting. So Chris is out all week. Yesterday, the great Dan Grasso was in for Chris. Today, I'm in for Chris. Tomorrow, Ty Butler's in for Chris. And then it's back to Grasso for Thursday and Friday. We need 3 people to fill in for one man. One man. 3 people. That's what it takes, as we got you covered till 1 o'clock today. Then Michael K. is on the radio today, 800-919-3776. That is the number to call to be a part of our show. Loaded guest list today, 11:30, Connor Hughes, SNY football insider for both the Jets and the Giants. He joins us, and we will talk about, well, the Jets and the Giants. Big day for the Giants as they have a huge padded practice. I'm going to quote the great Jordan Rodon for this one. The Giants today have a full padded practice from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Big boy day, says Jordan. Then they will travel to South Florida tomorrow and have a joint practice with the Dolphins on Thursday. Giants in action on Saturday in their second preseason game. The Jets are on the practice field right now. It's about to end. I just saw the Jets post a video of Geno Smith not wearing a sleeve on his leg. So I guess the ankle, which kept him out of the game on Friday against Tampa, is feeling a lot better. Geno Smith throwing a bomb to A.D. Mitchell. So passing attack looked good, at least in the one highlight the Jets posted. No Breece Hall. We got the update yesterday from Connor Hughes. We'll talk more about that with him at 11:30. The injury to Breece Hall, we thought at first, oh, my goodness, he goes down, non-contact injury. What's the deal? Well, according to SNY, the Breece Hall injury is only going to cost him, quote, a couple of weeks. It was a minor injury to the groin, strained his groin on the minor side. So some positive Jet news there involving, of course, Breece Hall. So Jets, Giants, we'll certainly talk about it. And I mentioned the loaded guest list. The great Q-Tip, A Tribe Called Quest, hip-hop legend, diehard Jet fan, diehard New York sports fan. He's going to join us in the 12 p.m. hour. We'll talk some football and about his legendary career at that point in time. But we start with some baseball. Mets continue to win, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. I'm sure it's got to be bittersweet for the Met fans out there, right? You've won 10 of 13 since the trade deadline after last night. So the Mets, 4 in a row, 10 of 13. Younger players are playing well. Lindor looks like a player again. Bichette looks like the guy that dominated for years in Toronto. And it's just got to be like just a bittersweet feeling. Like, yeah, nice to see some of these younger players play well. Benj and Ewing doing their thing. I mean, how incredible was that? Carson Bench, 2 outfield assists in the first inning. Back-to-back plays. Just an unbelievable moment for a young player developing at the big league level. But where was this when the games mattered? Now, if you want to spin it positive, you take out the 12-game losing streak the Mets had in the middle of the year, and they're a 500 team, baby. But you can't do that, as we all know. So, bittersweet, but at least they're playing better, and the young pitching looks pretty good. I know McClain last night gave you 6 innings, only 1 earned run. Certainly helped by his defense, but he's a bright spot. Zach Thornton going tonight. Some of these younger players getting everyday at-bats. They have a core. We've said this before, though, about the Mets. We got to see what David Stearns does in the offseason. But the story right now is the Yankees. So I was having a great day yesterday. Yankees couldn't play, which means we didn't have to watch their offense, waste beautiful starting pitching, waste the bullpen performances game after game. You get the news that Rodon's coming back. He's starting today. Wow, the Yankees are really going to have this full rotation we've been dreaming of. We're going to get to see Garrett Cole, Schlittler, Fried, Rodon, how well Weathers has pitched. We're going to get to see this in action. And then you find out Max Fried is going back on the injured list, seemingly out of nowhere. Didn't hear anything about this injury after his most recent start. His last start was on Thursday against the Mariners. He got through 5 innings, only allowed 1 run. I don't know when this injury occurred, but left elbow bone bruise, which is the exact same injury that he had earlier this season. He missed 9 weeks last time. Is it possible he's done for the year? That certainly has to be on the table, right? I know Aaron Boone will speak later. But this is incredibly disappointing because the Yankee plan, even if you don't believe in this team, and I certainly have my reservations if you listen to me on this radio station, the Yankee plan was centered around a dominant starter going each day of the playoffs, where, yeah, the offense stinks, but you only need to score maybe 3 runs, and you could win. The Yankees have basically been playing the same version of the same game since June when Aaron Judge went down. If they score 3 runs, they're probably going to win. If they can't, they're going to lose. That's been the Yankee season for a long time already. And just banking on some of these injured guys coming back and that being the key was always going to be risky. Banking on, well, Judge comes back and he's Judge right away. Bellinger, Stanton. They're just going to come in and be themselves. That was risky in and of itself. And what nobody talked about was, yes, you get those players back, but that doesn't mean you could just turn off injuries like we're playing MLB The Show. That doesn't mean other players couldn't also still get injured. You could get injured players back, they become healthy, and then your healthy players can become injured again. And that's obviously a real problem for the Yankees here, because without Fried, yes, their pitching is still very good, but I'm sorry, I don't trust Carlos Rodon. In fact, I was going to probably argue today on the show that if Weathers keeps pitching as well as he's pitched, I don't need to see Rodon be the number 4 starter. I don't care. I'd give Weathers the opportunity. I don't trust Carlos Rodon. I remember all the big games last year that he struggled in. I remember the postseason for Rodon. I don't trust him. So, yeah, you're getting Carlos Rodon back, and there's your move for the rotation. You don't have to debate, do you send Ryan Weathers to the bullpen? Do you send Will Warren to the bullpen? And it should have been Warren because Weathers has been so good. I don't care if Weathers has pitched out of the pen before, but you get the point. Now it's like, okay, you put Rodon in the rotation. We'll see what he has tonight against the Orioles. I don't trust him. And this weakens a superb strength that the Yankees had. Now, can they still win with Schlittler and Cole with how he's pitched at the top of the rotation? Absolutely, but again, now you're still going back to what we talked about at the beginning here, relying on injured players to come back and be themselves right away. And the standard that Aaron Judge is going to be held to, assuming he's back, that's as tough as any standard for any player in this town we've seen. You got to come back, save the Yankees' ass. In a sport where hitting might be the hardest thing to do in all the sports, we need you to be the MVP version of yourself against the best pitching come playoff time. That's their plan. Not doing more at the trade deadline continues to just completely bite the Yankees in the you-know-what. Not getting a legitimate catcher or another bat for the lineup. Luis Ariz, for example, finding a way to add him and Luis Garcia. Improving your lineup. This team can't score runs. I mean, we have a 2.5-month sample size where they're averaging 3 runs a game. It's the equivalent of what the White Sox 2 years ago did. Chris Carlin gave that stat last week on this show. The 2024 White Sox lost 121 games. Their offense averaged the same amount of runs the Yankee offense has currently been averaging since early June when they lost Aaron Judge. It's awful. And losing Fried is just another gut punch. Again, the strategy of the Yankees just running it back, not adding nearly enough at the deadline, and just planning on a bunch of guys just to get healthy all at the same time and then hit their peak, and then, oh yeah, no more injuries on top of that. How is this a prudent strategy by the general manager who's been here forever? How is that an acceptable plan for the Yankees? Oh, because they're good every year and make the playoffs, that means we should just settle for that? Again, there's still time for them to make me eat my words, and I hope I certainly can. But it's just very upsetting, but I'm also just like, I don't know if I'm that angry anymore. I think there's a feeling of apathy. It's like we've seen this so many times from the Yankees. Good, but never great. Good enough to get in, but never good enough to actually win. And this year, what an opportunity they're potentially going to squander if they can't at least get to the World Series. The American League stinks. Have you seen the battle for the third wild card spot right now? You have teams that are under 500 that are on the precipice of being in the playoffs. The Orioles, who the Yankees start a series with tonight, are tied with the Rangers and the Tigers, who sold at the trade deadline for that final wild card spot. They're 61-64, the Orioles, Tigers, and Rangers. The Blue Jays, who the Yankees just lost 2 out of 3 to over the weekend, including a game where they lost to the Toronto bullpen. The Blue Jays are a half game out of a playoff spot, as are the Twins, who are both 61-65. The Guardians are a game out of the wild card spot at 60-65. The American League is so bad. And if there was ever a time for the Yankees to be all in and soup up their team to be the best team, it was this year, and they didn't do it. And then we got to hear every excuse in the book about a Yankee tax or, Cashman made calls. Every team was asking for Lombard. I don't believe that the only way the Yankees could have further improved their team at the deadline was they had to include their number one prospect. That's the only way they could have done anything else. I don't buy it. I do not believe that for a second. But it's just, again, it's frustrating because this is a team that has figured out probably the hardest thing you have to figure out to be a championship team. They have the pitching. Even with some of the concerns I have with the bullpen, right? Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, don't really trust them. Tim Hill especially has not been the same guy this year. They have a closer. They have an eighth inning guy. Hedrick's been incredible. Blackburn's been a huge surprise. We know how good Bednar, of course, is. Eventually, you'll be in a spot where Clark Schmidt, I suppose, could go back to the bullpen, or maybe it is Weathers, if you're going to give Rodon the opportunity to be the number 4 starter. I guess he's the number 3 now, potentially. We'll see how they do it. The point is, you have, I think, enough internally to figure out the bullpen, and the pitching, even without Fried, should still be better than most teams, if not all the teams in the American League, certainly. But they can't score enough runs. And then the plan is, we just get Judge back, and it's all fixed. When Aaron Judge, love the guy, I'm a Yankee fan, who doesn't? Outside of last year, he's been not okay in the playoffs. He's been underwhelming, really bad. He's had moments here or there, but not good overall. And just asking him to come back and just fix this, coming off this type of injury, and he's going to have to try and get his timing back in the major leagues, and you hope there's enough time left in the season by the time he's back to do it, you're asking for a lot. And the super strength that the Yankees had was their pitching, and while it's still very good, losing Fried's a huge blow. It just is. Since he's been back, Max Fried has gone out there, has made 5 starts, and he's pitched to a 1.82 ERA. And he's a guy that I was in Houston back when I did radio on ESPN Houston for almost 6 years. I was in the building the night Max Fried started Game 6 of the World Series and threw 6 stunning innings against the Astros, helping the Braves win a championship that night. Like, I trust Max Fried. I know he got bombed last year against Toronto. I think he was tipping his pitches. He was good in the wild card round against Boston. Crochet was just better. You don't have that now in all likelihood. Again, maybe somehow this elbow injury, this elbow bruise is not as serious as it was the last time he had this injury, but I don't know if that's a prudent strategy you could bank on if you're a fan of the Yankees. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Chris Carlin. Bang! A lot to do. We'll talk plenty of football on the show today. I mentioned it, Jets on the practice field right now. Giants practicing later today before they travel to Miami for a joint practice against the Dolphins. Jets and the Steelers Friday night. Giants and Dolphins Saturday afternoon. So we're another day closer to the start of the regular season. Some interesting topics to hit on with both teams coming up. But we start with your calls here on Carlin. And let's start it off with Doc in South Jersey wants in on the Yankee conversation. What's up, Doc?
Good morning, Jake. I have a question. Is it only me that sees every Yankee season of the last 10 like the movie version of Groundhog Day? Because it seems like the script is the same every year. They get off to a great start. They have the best record in baseball in May. Then the older, bigger players get hurt. They sneak into the playoffs. And they're not equipped to play in the playoffs where you have to play more small ball. They don't have a catcher. They don't have a leadoff hitter, both of which were available during free agency. They made moves that made no sense. Yeah, they added some hitting, but they got right-handed hitters instead of some, it just didn't make any sense to me. They needed right-handed hitters, and they went for left-handed hitters. Why does it seem like it's the same script of waiting for 3-run home runs, never playing small ball to build runs? It's the same thing every year. Is it my imagination, or is that what's going on?
That is a reality, Doc, and that's what's so disappointing with this team, especially this year, because the Yankees have had good pitching staffs before. This is not this is an elite pitching staff. Maybe the best since 2003. They have wasted so many incredible starts where they're in a spot where, they're the first wild card right now. And it's like that's not good enough for the Yankees. And I get it, they have injuries, but you lose Aaron Judge, you shouldn't become one of the worst offenses in the sport. One player should not impact this team the way it does. That's poor roster construction. Like, Aaron Judge has bailed out Brian Cashman for years. You're seeing that firsthand. Again, I've talked about this ad nauseum when I filled in for Michael Kay leading up to the trade deadline. I'm very worried Aaron Judge is on his way to being the greatest Yankee to never win a championship. Move over, Don Mattingly. And Mattingly's the guy that handed Judge his third MVP trophy when they announced it on MLB Network last year. I remember thinking at the time, I don't like this. Not that I don't love Donnie baseball, but you could see what's unfolding. They have wasted one of the greatest right-handed hitters ever. And again, some of it's on Judge. He hasn't always hit in the playoffs, but still, you're seeing just how much he covers in regular seasons. This team can't score runs without him. You shouldn't be so reliant on just one guy. And I agree with our last caller, Doc. He's spot on. They don't do the little things that win games. Brian Kenny calls the Rays like a team that's just more baseball-y, I've heard him say on MLB Network. Like, it feels like the Rays make those winning plays. The Yankees don't. Like, how are the Tampa Bay Rays 75-49? How do they have the best record in the American League by far? The Yankees are 6 games behind the Rays in the division right now. Think about that. The Tampa Bay Rays and their payroll have by far and away, by 6 games, the best record in the American League. Like, if I'm Hal Steinbrenner and I live in Tampa, and I'm seeing a team that has an $89 million payroll, that would infuriate me. Yet nothing ever changes. It just remains the same. It's mind-boggling. It really is. 800-919-3776, number to call to be on the show. Let's say hello to Mike in the Bronx, who's up next on Carlin. Hello, Mike.
Hi, how are you, Jake? I like to talk some Jets.
So you're going to make me talk about the pain of Max Free's elbow injury. Now have to talk about the pain of the Jets. Go ahead, Mike.
I just want to say 2 points I've seen in preseason. Number one, I love that they use Allen in the red zone. The Jets running backs have been the most misused tool in the NFL the past couple of years. The fact that they use Breece Hall in the red zone makes no sense. It hurts. It puts the most taxing on the running back. That's not even his strength. Right now is much better in the red zone than him. You save Hall, for the season, and he's just better. He takes hits better. He breaks tackles better, and I think that's a change they need to do. Another point I want to say is I just don't understand why Aaron Glenn is in charge of timeouts on offense. You have one more quarterback who's also a head coach. I watch a right coach as a head coach. I like the way he uses timeouts. Aaron Glenn was terrible at last year. Why in the world does Aaron Glenn have to call timeout on offense? He's running the defense. Just a 2-minute drill. Quarterbacks know in their bones when to call timeout. Just let Reich be in charge of the whole offense when he's going down the field. He knows how to handle timeouts. I just don't understand why he didn't do that.
Mike, I appreciate the call. A couple things. Aaron Glenn is not the defensive coordinator. He's the head coach. That's why he's in charge of the timeouts. The head coach has to call timeouts. The offensive coordinator can't. That's a rule. It's the head coach's job to do it. Players could call timeouts. Head coach could call timeouts. Frank Reich can't do it. If you want Frank Reich to do it, just make him the head coach right now. And say goodbye to Aaron Glenn, which is not going to happen, obviously. Your first point on the running back situation, Braylon Allen got hurt in week 4 last year. So there wasn't opportunities to truly use him. Now, he got hurt on a kickoff return, which was ridiculous that he was in that spot in the first place, but that's besides the point. Breece Hall is their bell cow back. Breece Hall going down with an injury yesterday, even if it's not a severe groin strain, is still not ideal. Anytime you hear about a soft tissue injury to a running back in preseason, you start to worry, is this going to be something that just kind of lingers throughout the year? So that's the concern there. But they like Braylon Allen a lot, but he's all potential till he proves it. It was good to see him look healthy the other night against Tampa, had a nice touchdown run. But make no mistake about it, there's a reason why the Jets chose to pay Breece Hall. They chose to guarantee him $30 million over 2 years, essentially, which is what the franchise tag was going to be. He's going to be their guy. 800-919-3776. So our last caller brought us to the Jets. I have some more thoughts on them. We got Connor Hughes joining us at 11:30, and Q-Tip from a tribe called Quest is our big guest today in the 12 p.m. hour. A lot to do. Jake Asman in for Chris Carlin. We're coming right back right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Prizes, flyaways, even Cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com. That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
D'Agostino Law Bite Back. This is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, and I know how a serious accident can change your life just like that.
I'm Jenna D'Agostino, and I understand that with pain comes medical bills and time out of work. Let us get you justice.
This is John Ryan, the closer. For over 35 years, our family has been getting accident victims every dollar they deserve.
I started this firm for the injured so they can bite back against the insurance companies.
Our legacy is to get you justice. Bite back.
To get you paid, bite back.
At D'Agostino & Associates, bite back means fight back. When you're hurt and they blame you, we bite back and get you every dollar you deserve. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey, so call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. 1-800-248-3222. I've been there, and I'll be there for you.
Mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Buster only joins us. Who is a team in the American League right now that should scare Yankees fans a little bit?
All of them. There's so much parity in the American League, it's kind of crazy. So if you told me that the Yankees reached the World Series, I wouldn't be shocked. And if you told me they got knocked out in the first round, that wouldn't shock me either. I don't think they have any idea what they're going to get out of Judge and Stan the rest of the year. Like none.
DiPietro and Rothenberg. Morning 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
There are a million reasons to love New York. Making your budget stretch isn't one of them. According to an independent study, Amazon prices average 14% lower than other retailers. Get food, fashion, furniture, and more shipped straight to your building. Plus, another study found Amazon Prescription Pass customers pay nearly 1/3 less out of pocket. Learn more at aboutamazon.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
I'm telling you right now, I'm buying stock in 96.
I might be buying a jersey.
This kid, Lombard, is not overhyped. This kid is exactly the goods. And it doesn't mean he's not going to have a bad game every now and then. There's a way people move and act and talk that tell you, oh, yeah, it's in him. Now it's a matter of sit back and let's watch it happen.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's Carlin right here on 880 ESPN New York. the ESPN New York app and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Bang! No Chris Carlin. Jake Asman sitting in for Chris. We got Connor Hughes at 11:30 and Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest coming up in the 12 o'clock hour. We open with some baseball. Yankees lose Max Fried. So they didn't play yesterday, but it still felt like a loss. And I think you'd gladly trade a loss to still have Max Fried, given how important he is for the superpower of the New York Yankees, their starting rotation. Still very good without him. We can acknowledge that, but Max Fried's a guy who started a clinching game of the World Series, for crying out loud. He's had moments in the playoffs. He's also had some duds, but he had some big moments in the playoffs, and you don't have that guy now. You just wonder how long he's going to be out. Is there any scenario where this is not a 9-week injury? Could it be built up to play some sort of role for the team at some point? Again, the Yankees starting rotation, they have the lowest ERA in the majors. They haven't had Fried for a lot of it. They haven't had Cole for a lot of it. They haven't had Rodon for a lot of it. Like, they've had guys in and out of that super rotation all year, and they've been great. Matt Blake, I think, deserves it so much credit. If we kill the hitting coaches when the Yankees don't hit, which is every game, then the coaches who are doing their job, seemingly, like the pitching coach, Matt Blake, should get his due credit. Hopefully Ryan Weathers can continue to be this good. He's been a revelation for them. He has a 0.85 ERA across his past 5 starts. Clark Schmidt's coming back soon. Maybe he's a weapon out of the pen for them. He's done that in the past. But they got to figure it out. The biggest thing, though, is they got to get healthy and get guys back, because I think it is ridiculous that they are this dependent on one player and Aaron Judge. But that is the reality for the Yankees here in 2026. They are Aaron Judge, or they can't seem to score any runs, which is pathetic and falls on the general manager for not building a better all-around baseball team. But that's a huge issue. And again, I keep bringing up the Braves, right? They didn't have Ronald Acuna Jr. the year they won the World Series. They just made a ton of tremendous moves at the deadline that year. That was the deadline that Brian Cashman needed to have. But he didn't. So now we just hope that we get some sort of good news today on Fried, that maybe it's a couple weeks and not season ending. Whatever. They got to score runs. None of it matters if they can't score any runs. We're going to talk some football here. It's my first time I've had a chance to weigh in on Blue Tent Gate involving the Giants and Jaxson Dart. This feels like one of the most overblown stories we've ever had. I've seen people I really like trashing Jaxson Dart, saying he needs to realize that availability is part of the ability here if you're going to be a franchise quarterback. You don't think Dart knows that? You don't think Jaxson Dart is aware that he can't take big hits? That he can't get concussed? He can't get injured? That he's valuable to the team? Like, when we just say these things for the sake of saying them, it's like, it's just silly. Oh, Dart has to be out there. He can't. Yeah, I think he knows that. Anyone blaming Jaxson Dart for what happened on Saturday is just looking for a narrative that you're trying to just beat to death. How many rushing attempts did Jaxson Dart have in this game on Saturday? The answer is 0. Why did Jaxson Dart get hit? Because his running back didn't pick up a block. That wasn't Jaxson Dart being reckless in a preseason game. He took a hit, and he didn't even really get hit on his head. Now, the thing is, I think he got the wind knocked out of him, so he stayed down for an extra second. And when you do that, I understand why the NFL's medical people are going to buzz down for him to be evaluated. But the idea that, we have to treat all blue tent appearances the same is silly to me. Like, if you actually watch the game, in no scenario did Jaxson Dart do anything that makes you question if he's learned his lesson. Like, you don't think Jaxson Dart knows he needs to be available? He's been talked to by the GM, by the head coach, by the players. He slid in practice last week, and the Giants defense cheered. Had some fun with him about that. Everyone knows Dart needs to take care of himself. I think it's one of the most overblown stories we've had coming out of this game. Oh, blue tent, Jaxson Dart. I didn't like that. He was defiant about not needing to go into the tent. He's right. And it's funny, the one concussion he actually had, he didn't even go into the tent to be checked for that one. So I don't think the NFL is necessarily targeting him. I understand why the medical people said, get him looked at after that hit he took. It looked ugly in real time. You don't get the opportunity of slow-mo immediately to go, oh, well, maybe the wind got knocked out of him. It wasn't really him landing on his head that knocked him out there. But I feel like this story is completely overblown. Yesterday, Dart was a guest on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, and he was asked, how will you handle the blue tent going forward?
Yeah, and I think that you definitely, you respect that. You appreciate, people looking after, the health of the players and all the guys that are a part of this league. So you definitely appreciate those things. At the same time, situations like that where you can't really control when you're going to get hit. There's times where you're going to be throwing the ball and you're going to be hitting the hit at the same time. But, one thing about me is I'm always get up, and I want to be out there for my team, and that's my responsibility.
I just feel like we have completely overblown this exact scenario with Dart. He knows he needs to avoid hits. He's aware. He's aware that he can't be reckless. The only way he'll truly learn, though, is if he takes a hard hit and it clicks for him. I heard Dan Orlovsky say that to Michael Kay last year, and I agree with that. I think he's learned. I don't think this is going to be this big problem that some wanted to make. I think the problem with Dart is he's not Josh Allen in size. He's not as big as some of these quarterbacks that do take hits and can run and get up. Like, his body is susceptible to being worn down. He's got to get better from the pocket. He can't obviously play off script all the time. But you also don't want to neuter his ability to play off script because that's what makes him the successful quarterback, I believe, and I think many Giants fans believe he's going to be. He improvised on that play where he threw the touchdown to Malachi Fields and put it on his head. That wasn't in the script. He rolled out, bought time, and did what he did. Jaxson Dart, I think, is going to be a very good quarterback. I don't think the blue tent stuff is really going to be a storyline. I think people trying to lecture him, is he aware that part of being a franchise quarterback is being available? Yes, I'm pretty sure he's aware of this. Yesterday, Joe Schoen was on the Michael Kay show, and Michael asked Joe Schoen if the medical team overreacted to the hit that Jaxson Dart took.
Yeah, it's hard to say on that. Obviously, the player's health and safety is that's first and foremost, and the medical group is doing their job to make sure that the player's safety is taken into account. So I understand where they were coming from, and again, the player did have a free run at Jaxson, and whether he got the wind knocked out of him or whatever it may have been, he did lay there for a minute. So I could understand their concern from that standpoint when a player's on the ground like that, but. We, as Coach Harbaugh said, we got to block better. We got to block better, regardless of which player it is. You don't want to see any of these guys get hurt. But we know Jackson's history. I was here last year. He was taking the tent multiple times. Again, just so there is a track record there from his past. But again, I just think the hit on Saturday, the result of it, him laying on the ground. I'm guessing that's what the medical team saw and. Thought it was best to, err on the side of caution and get him checked out.
Which makes sense. I don't think this is some big controversy. Oh, the NFL is targeting Jaxson Dart. No, I think they saw a guy get absolutely wrecked and said, let's get this guy looked at. And here's what I know. I know that every Giant fan probably felt the exact same way Joe Schoen apparently felt when he watched Dart get wrecked in this game on Saturday.
Yeah, it came out. It came out of my mouth. There'd be a lot of beeps and beep, 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 beep. It was kind of like a slow motion car crash because where I'm sitting up in my box, I saw the guy come off the edge and Tracy kind of stepped out and he was unimpeded to the quarterback. So then seeing him on the ground, of course, I was worried. He's important to the success of our season. So. You never want to see that in the preseason game, again, regardless, what player positions, but specifically that when you're starting quarterback. So you certainly don't want to see him take a hit like that, in the preseason.
As Chris Carlin once said, everybody calm down. I think we got to relax. All right. And I think the Giants need to block better. I think that goes without saying. But this to me feels like a total overreaction because of what happened last year. Like, not all blue tent visits are the same. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I was listening to Dan Grassi yesterday in this time slot. I thought he made an incredible point. How come the blue tent is not yet sponsored yet by the NFL? When are we going to get some advertising on that medical tent? It's coming. I would suggest the Doritos Cool Ranch medical tent. Ray, Tom, are you guys a blue or red Dorito kind of guy? Because I immediately thought, blue tent? What if we did a little Cool Ranch Doritos being the presenting sponsor of the medical tent?
I'm a big Cool Ranch guy.
See? Tom?
We're going 2 people for Cool Ranch here in the control room.
All right. So let's see if we maybe can make the connection and see if we can get like a finder's fee. Let's go stop by Roger Goodell's office after the show today and say, hey, how about you guys do a partnership with Cool Ranch Blue Doritos for the NFL's medical tent? Because it's amazing it's not sponsored. It's just a blue tent. No logos, nothing.
I'm sure Dan Grassa is going to get paid handsomely by the NFL for this idea.
I thought it was a great suggestion. They sponsor everything. They really do. I know we were going to talk about this possibly later. Goodell said today that he fully expects in his lifetime for there to be an NFL team that's not in the United States of America. We're trending towards that. Now, maybe that means Canada. Like you have hockey and basketball and baseball teams that play in Canada. You already have the CFL. Could you get an NFL team in Canada maybe? But the NFL will play games anywhere to make money. They'll put a team eventually anywhere to make money. If you paid enough, they'd play the Super Bowl in Gaza, for crying out loud. I'm fully convinced of that. Let's be real. 800-919-3776, number to call to be part of our show. Lots still to do. In the next segment, I want to get into rankings that ESPN has produced. And they're not just power rankings for this year. They're what they're calling future rankings. Rankings for the future. Now, how does this work? Over the next 3 years, how is your team projected to do? And I'm especially interested in this one because while I don't think the Jets are going to be very good this year, they're set up with 3 first-round picks next year and the most cap space in the league to potentially finally get it right. We'll talk more about that on the other side. It's Jake Asman in for Carlin. We're taking you till 1 o'clock today. You're listening to all of it right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
The general manager of the New York Giants, that is Joe Schoen. Now, one of the things that have been worked on throughout camp is discretion on the part of Jaxson to slide. Do you think he's made strides in that?
You just have to learn. You start coming in every Monday and realizing how bad your body hurts and you feel like you were in a car crash, and half of those hits are, avoidable. And Jackson's a smart kid and understands that, and I think that'll be reflected in his play this year.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Hey guys, it's Peter Rosenberg, and listen, you know me. I'm always honest about what's going on with my life, and recently I've just been dealing with some nagging pain that I've finally decided I wasn't going to ignore anymore. So I ran into my guy, Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. Decided to set a meeting, and after we talked, I understood why so many people recommend him. He's Ivy League trained, all right? He's the real deal. He's double board certified, and he takes a non-surgical approach to helping people get back to living their lives. If pain is keeping you from enjoying your summer, don't just live with it. Go check out Samwell Pain. Visit SamwellPain.com. Trust me.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking from Rings End. Picture this, a deck that's the highlight of your backyard, turning heads season after season. Now, imagine 20, 30 years later. It's still going strong. And here's the best part. You haven't spent a moment sanding, staining, or sealing it. Visit your local Rings End for the stunning real wood looks of TimberTech decking, paired with the kind of durability that only advanced engineering can deliver. Backed by industry-leading warranties, TimberTech is the decking that performs for decades. Ask for it locally at Rings End.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
I take the car service home heavily medicated on Ativan, right? And my wife had told me prior to that she didn't like the way I was on Ativan, that I became hostile and agitated. So the Giants lose that game 24-21. And I said, I can't take it anymore. The season is over. And I took the vinegar and I dumped the vinegar out on her computer. And she said, what is the matter with you? You dumped the vinegar onto the computer. Yeah, but don't stop there. Oh, my God. She goes, what's the matter with you? I said, nothing. You want to see the matter? At this point, the kids, the poor kids. Are the kids okay?
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
And I don't remember what happened from that moment on, but I'm not allowed to take Ativan anymore.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. New episodes available now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Harry Douglas here to help you ignite your taste buds with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Juicy cherry, citrus lime, and blue raspberry. It's that iconic freezer pop flavor, but with none of that guilty sugar aftermath. The perfect summer kick. It's delicious, portable, zero sugar energy shot bursting with flavor. Bring on the summer with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com and on Amazon.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Q-Tip joining us today in the 12 o'clock hour from a tribe called Quest. He's a huge Jets fan, like truly. Not one of those celebrity fans that you hear about, and it's like asking to name a player and they can't. He truly lives and dies with all the games. And I also give credit to another legend in the hip-hop space. So I went to the Jet-Bucks preseason game Friday night. God help us why I chose to do it, but someone offered me free tickets to go with some friends, and we were in the coaches club. So shout out to Dan Grassa, saw him doing his thing. The great Ray Dinahan was behind that, of course, producing a masterful pregame, as we know. And in my section, sitting 2 rows behind me, was Method Man. So that's a real fan right there if you're going to the Jets-Bucks preseason game on a Friday night in summer. So I can confirm Q-Tip and Method Man, both true celebrity Jet fans out there. We'll talk with Connor Hughes before that at 11:30. Get the latest on both the Jets and the Giants. Connor was the first to report that the Breece Hall groin strain is minor, and instead of potentially being out months, the Jets get positive news. It's only a couple weeks, and Breece should be ready to roll for Week 1 against Robert Saleh and the Tennessee Titans. So in the chat, we were talking last segment about the Jaxson Dart blue tent situation, and Dan Grassa made a great point, I thought, yesterday. How come the NFL hasn't found a sponsor for the blue tent? And some of the suggestions we got from the chat I thought were great. So shout out to Leon, who was the first I saw in the chat to suggest the Blue Chew blue tent. Well played. The Blue Moon tent was another suggestion I saw. I typed in companies with blue in their name. Blue Apron, Blue Buffalo, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. That probably makes the most sense, right? They're a health insurance company, I believe. Would it make sense to sponsor the NFL's medical tent? We have something big here. We're giving this out for free. So Roger Goodell and company, you're welcome for what we're suggesting. 800-919-3776, number to call to be a part of the show. So I mentioned it going to break. The NFL is always a year-to-year league, but if you're a Jet fan, you've already started looking ahead, given the fact you have 3 first-round picks in 2027 and what's supposed to be a tremendous draft, especially at quarterback. ESPN published a story where they did the future power rankings for all 32 teams based on the next 3 seasons. And I went through it just to get a feel for, well, how do they see the Giants and how do they see the Jets grading out over the next couple of years? So the headline is NFL Future Power Rankings 2027 through 29, projections for 32 teams. They asked a panel of experts, analysts Louis Riddick, Aaron Schatz, Ben Solak, and Seth Walder to rate each team's QB situation, remaining roster that doesn't include the quarterback, the front office, and the coaching staff using this scale. So again, it's based on your QB, your roster minus the quarterback, your head coach, and your GM. And assign grades. A+, that's 100. 90 to 99 is an A. They're calling that great. 80 to 89, that's a B, very good. 70 to 79, that's a C, that's average. 51 to 69, that's D, very bad. 50 and below is an F. Which, by the way, I thought under 65 was pass-fail when I was going through the education system. According to ESPN, it's now 50 and below is an F. So let's start with the Jets. The Jets came in at 29, and I vehemently disagree with this. Their overall roster, excluding the quarterback, they graded out as a 74.25. That's 23rd in the NFL. Not bad, considering that a lot of their roster is built on young players taking a huge step forward, and if they do, I think they could be better than 23. Again, this is not including the quarterback. If you include the quarterback, the Jets were graded at 28 at quarterback. 65.5 is the score, so that'd be a D grade according to ESPN's standings. Coaching. This shouldn't surprise anyone who has eyes. Aaron Glenn, dead last, 32 out of 32. Gee, I wonder why. It's almost like he had one of the worst seasons in the history of professional football last year and is lucky to still have a job. But I digress. He's 32. Front office. This is where the Jets have hope. And the people around the NFL are seeing it the same way I think many Jet fans are. Darren Muji in the front office, they scored an 80, which was 11th in the league. That's where the Jets have hope. Because the other stuff, it really doesn't matter. Let me explain. Who cares what the Jet coach ranking is in future rankings if Aaron Glenn's not going to be here after this year? If they stink again, he's gone. And if you're the Jets and you have a good GM, he's going to get a chance to pick his coach. He also has accumulated 3 first-round picks, and the Jets are set up to have $100 million in salary cap space. And again, their roster is 23 in this, minus the quarterback. So you exclude the quarterback, they're 23, and that's before we see David Bailey play. That's before we see D'Angelo Pons even practice. Kenyon Sadiq barely has practiced, right? Omar Cooper Jr. They added 4 players in the top 50 to their roster. You have another year of Armand Membu, another year of A.Z. Thomas, another year of Mason Taylor. You still have Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall signed now long-term. Like, they're not bereft of talent from a roster standpoint. They have a couple of premium positions you could cross a nice check next to that you feel pretty good about. So the overall roster minus the quarterback is 23. I think it will be a lot higher at the end of the year. You have the 3 first-round picks to get the quarterback. You're going to have a new coach in this scenario, and the GM is already ranked just outside the top 10. If Darren Muji's good at his job, the Jets should score a heck of a lot higher than just number 29 in future rankings. Again, if you believe in Muji, and people in this poll put him at number 11 among GMs in football, then they're going to be a lot higher than 29 because the reason why they're ranked 29 is because they're basing it on Glenn being the 32nd best coach in football and Geno being the 28th best quarterback in football. Neither of them will be with the Jets a year from now if they stink. And their win total is 5.5. So you could be a pie-in-the-sky optimist and say this team's going to win 9 or 10 games. I don't think so. And I'd love to be wrong. They should be a lot higher than this, and I think there's a path where they can certainly be a lot higher than this. Because as they write in the story here, quote, Darren Muji catapulted up league GM rankings with his aggressive 2025 trade deadline. His investment in future picks has set the Jets up for long-term success. They made 3 first-round picks in 2026 and could do so again in 2027. If they don't trade those picks for a QB, there are a few exciting young players, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Armand Membu, etc., so the Jets aren't starting from nothing either. And here's, to me, the most exciting part of the article. Seth Walder was asked to write a bold prediction for the Jets. And he says, quote, the Jets will make the playoffs in 2027 with a new coach and a new quarterback. After another depressing season in 2026, the Jets will be rewarded with a high pick in this loaded quarterback class. The result of that quarterback alongside a strong offensive line and a bevy of intriguing pass catchers will be immediate success. Any Jet fan going to not sign for that right now if I told you you're going to the playoffs in 27? You only got to deal with one more miserable year of this playoff drought extending to 16, and then it's finally over? I don't think it's crazy. People will say you're nuts, but if you're a Jet fan who's been following along, how Muji has put this team together, some of the things you hear from other people around the league about him. And I can also share this. So the Jets the other day, the day of their preseason game, they did a great thing for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Woody Johnson and the Jets donated a full smart home for a disabled veteran through Tunnel to Towers. And a bunch of Jet fans were invited to go be a part of the ceremony. And Good Morning America filmed it, and it was very cool. It was at MetLife. Woody was talking with fans afterwards, and multiple people confirmed this for me. He was talking about Darren Muji as not just the general manager. You know what Woody Johnson referred to Darren Muji as? He called him, quote, the general. He's like, we have a general. He's doing everything for us, which is long confirmed my thought and what I've been told from people behind the scenes, that this is no longer, Aaron Glenn is running the show and Muji's his sidekick, as Woody once referred to Darren Muji at that introductory press conference when they both were first hired. Darren Muji's running the show. He's in charge of Aaron Glenn at this point. Like, Glenn reports to Woody, yes, but if there's a face-off on a decision head-to-head, Muji's winning it. And again, this is just another example of how people have taken notice to what he's done. So, front office, the Jets have a top 11 general manager. I don't care if their head coach is 32 right now. He won't be here in a year. Geno Smith won't be here in a year. If he is, he's the bridge, and he's starting until Arch Manning or Dante Moore or C.J. Carr or whoever is ready to go. I think there's real reason for hope for the Jets. It just stinks you got to go through another painful year, but maybe there's a scenario where Glenn proves many of us wrong. Their Jets are competitive, they're fun, and the Colts are terrible, and that's how you get one of these top quarterbacks. Or you trade up and use some of these picks to go up and get the guy. But ideally, if you're the Jets, you don't need to trade anything. You select your quarterback, and then you have 2 other first-round picks to use on players that can help you win. Or you trade one of them, move back and get even more picks. Somehow acquire a future one in 2028. And every year that Darren Muji drafts, the Jets somehow have multiple first-round picks. There's your fantasy scenario. As far as the Giants, where do they rank on this, right? Because the Giants seemingly have a head coach that everyone is excited about. They have a quarterback. If you believe my theory, and many people's theory, that the NFL is about having a coach and having a quarterback, it's a coach and QB league, shouldn't the Giants be ranked pretty high? They're at 22 on this. Overall roster, excluding the quarterback, 29. So the Jet roster is ranked higher minus the quarterback than the Giants. Jaxson Dart, where did he rank? Limited sample size, right? 12 games. Pretty good, I'd say. He's at 18. So he's slightly under average. If we see more this year, I think he'll be an above-average starter. Coaching. Harbaugh came in as the 14th ranked coach in the NFL, his staff. Front office, it's funny. The Jets had the 32nd ranked coach. The Giant front office is ranked 32, which is going to lower their score significantly. They had a 68.25 ranking for GM. Here's why I wouldn't pay any attention to that from a Giant standpoint. Joe Schoen is a yes man now. He's no longer the head honcho on decision-making. Harbaugh has final say. He has it in his contract that he doesn't report to Schoen. The Giants changed their entire power structure for the first time ever, where the head coach doesn't report to the GM. The head coach reports directly to ownership. So the Giants' score in this is going to take a huge hit because Schoen got trashed by these ESPN analysts, and they put him at 32. Okay. Who cares? It's Al Harbaugh. Where would you rank Harbaugh? They have him as the 18th or the 14th best head coach. I think that's a little low. And while the Giants roster is not great, if you believe in the coach and you believe in the quarterback, I think they should be a lot higher over the next 3 years in this ranking here. But again, it's an interesting story because it factors in the futures for the next 3 seasons. And I believe the Jet future is potentially very bright. And we've heard this many times before, but that's all you have as a Jet fan. You have hope. The number one team for those curious, the Seattle Seahawks, overall score of 88.7. Overall roster, excluding QB, was ranked number 1. Quarterback ranked 16th. I think Sam Darnold's better than that, but he's 16th in this. Coaching is 3. Front office is 2. That's how you get an overall score of an 88.7, which, by the way, it shows you how hard these grades are. By ESPN's own metrics, the team that came in number 1 is only a B. 80 to 89 is very good. Seattle's overall score in those categories was 88.7. Think about that. Number 2 on the list, the Philadelphia Eagles, 88.1. Roster excluding QB, tied for second. Quarterback ranked 14th. Coaching 15th. I think that's a little unfair to Nick Sirianni. He's been to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different coordinators and won one of them. Front office is 1. No issue there. 3 are the Lions. 4 are the Broncos. And rounding out the top 5 are the Rams. So there's your look at the top 5. Full story is over at ESPN.com. But I think the Jets have a way brighter future than just number 29. And if you really go through it, you see why. Their GM's ranked 11. Who cares where Geno's ranked? Who cares where Glenn's ranked? And they ain't going to be here starting in January of 2027. 800-919-3776. Number to call to be on the show. More of your football calls on the other side. A lot to do. We got Connor Hughes at 11:30. Q-Tip in the noon hour. Keep it right here. Jake Asman sitting in for Carlin on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Hey, Yankees fans! Join us at Yankee Stadium on Friday, August 21st, as the Yankees take on the Toronto Blue Jays. And don't miss Cody Bellinger Bobblehead Night, presented by T-Mobile. The first 18,000 guests through the gates will take home an exclusive Cody Bellinger bobblehead. Get here early, grab the giveaway, and cheer on the Bronx Bombers. Tickets are available now at Yankees.com/tickets.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop. This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
I'm telling you right now, I'm buying stock in 96.
I might be buying a jersey.
This kid, Lombard, is not overhyped. This kid is exactly the goods. And it doesn't mean he's not going to have a bad game every now and then. There's a way people move and act and talk that tell you, oh, yeah, it's in him. Now it's a matter of sit back and let's watch it happen.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Empower. Pete's back on the links with all new golf clubs and hopefully less swearing.
Dang, sliced it.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money so he can be a little bad.
Heads up!
Oof. Talent sold separately.
Guy said these were slice proof.
At least he has money for lessons. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
ESPN New York, now streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe today and watch the show. WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
No Chris Carlin, hour 2 of our 3-hour radio program underway. Jake Asman sitting in for the big fella. Let's go. Bang! Bang! Hey, how about some breaking news brought to you by Boost Mobile, or, I don't know, maybe kind of breaking news?
Kinda breaking news?
So our guest at 11:30, Connor Hughes, reported yesterday that the Breece Hall injury, the groin strain, is minor, and he's not expected to miss a lot of time, a couple weeks, and be ready for week one. Aaron Glenn, speaking to reporters for the first time since that report came out yesterday afternoon, announced an injury timeline for Breece. Take a listen.
Breece and Mike Hill, both of those guys will be out. With Breece with the groin, Mike Hill with the calf. Both of those guys will be out 2 to 3 weeks. So those guys will be ready for the regular season.
So as long as Aaron Glenn is not lying to us, that's good news on Breece Hall. Very good news. Now, I do worry about any soft tissue injury, especially to a running back, but, groin strains are one of those things where you just hope it doesn't linger throughout the year, but let's give him the full 3 weeks off. Make sure he's 1,000% healthy before he reboots. And the Jets still have time. It's crazy how long training camp is. The Jets don't play till September 13th. It's August 18th. So you still have several weeks to go. That kind of breaking news is brought to you by Boost Mobile. Don't overpay. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month. Forever, for life, for real. Switch now at boostmobile.com. 800-919-3776. More football to get into this hour. Plus, we'll keep you updated should we hear anything on the Max Fried injury. Other than him going on the injured list last night, that's all we have right now as Carlos Rodon returns tonight and Fried goes on the IL. Let's hit some of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Vinny in Staten Island, who starts it off this hour. Hello, Vinny.
Hey, Jake. How are you?
Hello, Vinny.
I just want to say one thing. They made such a mistake not picking Carson Beck in the third round. I mean, if you're going to pick Fernando Mendoza, if they would have had the first pick, they would have picked Fernando Mendoza. Carson Beck is going to be better than Fernando Mendoza. I just don't know how they slipped up and didn't just grab him.
What
in
is
the
that
third
based
round.
on, Vinny?
He could have been based on Carson Beck played for Georgia, Miami, and he looked better than Fernando Mendoza in the championship game last year. He's a better quarterback.
He didn't look better than Fernando Mendoza overall. I mean, come on. Carson Beck also threw a pick at the end of that game, too. Mendoza, when it mattered, he literally had the biggest play of the whole game, and he was sensational all season.
How did Carson Beck look in his first debut against Arizona? Tremendous.
How did Mendoza look in his first debut? By the way, it was the Hall of Fame game. So you're talking about third and fourth stringers, not even twos. Carson Beck didn't even. Carson Beck barely played the other night. He was the third quarterback behind Minshew and Brissett in that game. He might end up being good, Vinny, but you can't tell me that the Jets missed out.
He's going to be really good. He's going to be really good.
How's Kyle Trask going, Vinny? You're the guy that told us Kyle Trask was going to be amazing too, weren't you?
Kyle Trask just needs a chance. He just needs a chance to play, just like every other quarterback. Just like Darnold needed a chance to play.
Darnold had a chance to play. He had a chance to play. Is that the same thing?
Donald got his chance, and he made the most of it. Kyle Trask needs a chance to play.
Okay,
Kyle Trask is better than every backup in the NFL.
All right, thank you for the time, Vinny. I'm not even going to dignify a response to that. You could kill the Jets for many things, believe me. I could spend all day giving you things to criticize them for. Not taking Carson Beck in the third round when they traded up to take Klubnik in the fourth round, who they liked, and he also looked good in the game the other night. And just glossing over that completely. It's not like the Jets neglected quarterback again. They took a swing on Klubnik, and he looked pretty good. Saying that Carson Beck is going to be amazing, he's better than Mendoza, you're just glossing over the fact that Mendoza looked great the other night. And it's preseason. Who cares? Remember Zach Wilson was 9 of 11 against the Packers in his first ever preseason start? 2 touchdowns in the first half? Oh, my God. It's preseason, dude. Relax. I don't need to hear about, Kyle Trask is the best backup ever. Based on what? If he was so good, he would get an opportunity by now. But who cares about Beck? Who cares about Kyle Trask? Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how Cade Klubnik looks if he hopefully gets more 7 pass attempts in his next game. And let me get to that. Again, people think I'm picking on Aaron Glenn here, but this was just an asinine decision that he and the coaching staff made the other night in that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Aaron Glenn knew Geno Smith was not playing the day before the game, right? That's what we learned afterwards. So then Klubnik gets a chance to start the game. Why is Cade Klubnik not going out there and playing the entire first half and getting the necessary reps that he clearly needs for him to go out there and hopefully develop into a potential, and I say potential because I don't want to put too much pressure on him, a potential long-term backup. That's a win in the fourth round. I'm not even going to say he's going to be the Jets' long-term starter because I don't genuinely believe that. Like, how did that make any sense for Cade Klubnik to only get 7 passing attempts and only play the first 2 drives? Where on the second drive, I think they ran the ball 3 out of the 4 plays anyway. It didn't make any sense. You should have had Cade Klubnik out there for the entire first half getting experience. Oh, but Jake, they didn't want Cade with the backup offensive lineman for that long. But that was going to be their plan the entire game. Right? Geno was supposed to start, which means Cade, who had never taken any reps with the ones, was going to get the chance to do so with the ones and then play with the twos. And he only had that one drive. How could you evaluate Cade Klubnik and get him ready for the year if you're not going to give him a real chance? And then Glenn's answer after the game the other night also made absolutely no sense, saying that he felt like he had enough reps, but then also said he didn't know Cade Klubnik's rep count. And then he also said he wanted to evenly distribute the quarterback reps for Bailey Zappi, Brady Cook, and Cade Klubnik. Why? We've all seen enough Brady Cook to last a lifetime. And Bailey Zappi, I'll admit, I didn't think he was going to be that bad. He's won 4 games in the NFL before. He's 4-5 as a starter. 3 of the wins were on the road. I didn't think he'd be inept, but he stinks. He's terrible. He can't play. So by default, Cade Klubnik is going to win the Jets' backup job. So he needs reps. You're 1 sprained ankle from Geno Smith in week 1 or week 2 from Aaron Glenn trying to save his job with a day 3, 4th-round rookie quarterback. He's got to play. Look how many snaps Drew Aller played or Mendoza played or go down the line, even Carson Beck in that Hall of Fame game. All these rookies ended up playing so much more than what we saw from Cade. No one needs to see Bailey Zappi, and I know for a fact nobody, and I mean nobody, needs to see Brady Cook ever. Brady Cook's parents don't need to see him play anymore. It's enough. That was just a wasted opportunity. You only have 3 preseason games now, and if Klubnik's going to be the backup, I don't think he's guaranteed to play in that 3rd preseason game. Because if he's going to be the backup, you want to make sure he's healthy. You might only be playing your Brady Cooks and Bailey Zappi in that 3rd and final preseason game against the Giants. So Geno now needs to play on Friday because he's got to get in there and experience playing under Frank Reich, getting the play call in the helmet, going out there with the starters, giving him some sort of tune-up so the Jets don't come out flat as a pancake against Saleh in week 1. But that was just such a missed opportunity by Aaron Glenn. There's no reason why Cade Klubnik should have only had 7 pass attempts. That makes absolutely no sense, and anyone with a brain knows it. That's just not smart how to handle your quarterback there. And this is the thing that always gets me nervous with Glenn and the idea of him, potentially sticking around. You're going to let this man oversee the development of a young QB? That's the guy you want in charge? Oh, but Jake, they have Frank Reich. Is Frank Reich definitely going to be here long term? He's 65 years old. That's what concerns me. It's not just you keep this coach. It's you then you're going to let him oversee the development of a rookie quarterback. When he told us that Justin Fields wasn't allowed to play quarterback in his previous stops. That the Jets were going to unlock him. Remember that? These were his words. We saw how that worked. He told us Geno Smith's going to take us to the promised land. He also said last week that Geno Smith's best days of playing football are still ahead of him. Again, there's one thing to pump up your own guys, but it's just I don't trust that he has any clue what he's looking at in terms of the quarterback position. And this is the guy that we're going to let oversee Arch Manning's development or Dante Moore or whoever. I have a very tough time sitting here and expressing any sort of confidence in that. Because I just thought that made absolutely no sense how that was handled. 800-919-3776. Craig in Lansing is up next on Carlin with Jake Asman in for Chris. Hello, Craig.
Hey, man. I mean, here's the deal. That dude's in over his head, Aaron Glenn. And I've said this at least 10 times. he never finished in the top half of the league defensively, total defense. It was 19th, 20th, 28th, and 32nd, dead last, in his 4 years as the DC in Detroit. So, I mean, I never understood that hire. Kind of reminded me of when they hired Matt Patricia to come to Detroit. I'm like, he just got crushed, made Nick Foles look like Jesus out there. But he's a defensive guru, and you're going to bring him as the head coach. Get out of here. So, but let's talk about I called in to talk about Denard Wilson in that defense. I mean, I feel like they're going to be vastly improved. I mean, you're looking at a guy that in Tennessee a few years back in 2024 with just one Pro Bowler, and he was an alternate, Clyde Simmons. He had the number 2 defense in the league in total defense. So he gets to New York, and this is some rhetoric, but the reason why I called in is because I want to know, do you have any buzz around town that tells you, hey, how are they looking in practice? And what about the middle? Is it looking? Are the guys they brought in to help out replace Dexter Lawrence? Is that looking tight? I mean, what do you think about that Giants defense, man? And I appreciate it, dude. Thanks a lot.
Craig, I appreciate you making the call. I think the Giants are much improved defensively. I do. I understand losing Dexter Lawrence is a big loss, but, I mean, you're adding Arvell Reese to the middle of your defense. You're letting them kind of play free and all over. I thought signing Tremaine Edmonds was a really good signing by Harbaugh and Shane. The concerns I have with the Giants defense is their secondary. I don't know if you love their corners. I don't think Giants fans are in love with Debo and Greg Newsome as your corner combo right now. And you keep hearing, the year Tyler Nubin takes the best step. And I had Art Stapleton on my show I did on Saturday on the station. And he said that Jason Pinnock, former Jet, by the way, has been better to this point. They brought him back. So I don't know if the Giants defense is going to be great. I just think they'll be better coached and they'll be better situationally. If they have big leads, I think Harbaugh is smart enough to not allow the Giants to blow said leads. They'll be better coached on both sides of the ball. Like most games in the NFL come down to one score statistically. And that's where I think you'll have the edge in some of these games. You'll have a coach whose bad season is going 8-9 in his career over 18 years. He's had 1 5-11 season. The other 2 losing seasons he's had were 8-9 seasons. 8-9, which would be more wins than the Jets have had in a decade, to give you some context. That's a bad year for Harbaugh. So I think the Giants are going to be much, much better. That said, their defensive tackle spot clearly was a concern of theirs. Look who they brought in. Shelby Harris, DJ Reader. You need Darius Alexander, right? What was he, a second-round pick for them? Third-round pick, but top 65 pick. That's a high third. You need him to step up and emerge as someone they could rely on trying to fill that void for Dexter Lawrence. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Chris Carlin. Addison, Los Angeles, up next on ESPN New York. Hello, Addie.
Jake, good morning, sir. How's it going?
Oh, fantastic. How are you?
All right. Had the day off. I was hoping to see you on a different show, but here we are. Hell yeah. Going into the next preseason game, what do you feel would be the perfect amount of time for Cade to be on the field?
I would let him play.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah, that's all you got, Addie? Good question. Here's what I would say. Geno Smith needs to play as well, especially because he didn't play in the first game. So can you give Geno Smith the first quarter? And I'd give Cade Klubnik the entire second, and depending on how the game script goes, maybe into the third. Because you know what was really annoying? By playing Bailey Zappi after the first 2 reps, or after Klubnik had the first 2 drives, I should say, Bailey Zappi got that 2-minute scenario at the end of the first half on Friday. That would have been great to see Klubnik in that spot. 2 minutes, go down the field, try and score. The Jets ended up settling for a field goal at the end of that first half. That would have been a great opportunity for Cade Klubnik in a game scenario to deal with the 2-minute drive. But instead, Aaron Glenn thought it was a great idea to only give Cade Klubnik 7 pass attempts. It didn't make sense. So I hope he plays a lot more. Glenn said he wanted his starters to play between 25 to 30 reps, which would be snaps in total through the preseason. And I don't think they're going to play anyone in that last game. At least they didn't last year. So they got some catching up to do with Geno. Maybe they don't even get him up to the full 25. But I'd like to see the starters play at least a quarter Friday night against Pittsburgh. And I'd like to see Cade Klubnik play 2 quarters if it was up to me. Let Klubnik play quarter 2, quarter 3, and Brady Cook, if he has to get out there, I guess him and Zappy could share the fourth quarter together. What an honor. It's just silly to me. Every other quarterback around the league, these young quarterbacks, they all played more than Klubnik. The logic, it really just baffles me. It does. 800-919-3776. Warren in Vegas up next on Carlin with Jake Asman. Hello, Warren.
How are you?
I'm pretty good, Warren. How are you?
Right, thank you. I just want to ask you a quick question. I was just telling your representative.
That's my agent in there,
I've been
Tom
arguing
Bauer.
Agent, right. Secret agent, James Bond. No, I was talking. I got a good friend of mine back east, and he's a big, Yankee fan like me, and he argues with me like I'm stupid when I say this. My opinion, which is maybe just far out, I would just pay off Stanton, give him the money, wherever they owe him, and get rid of him. He said, why would you do that? Because the guy doesn't, first of all, you're paying somebody who misses most of the season. You paid him anyhow, but he's not doing nothing. And when he does come in, he he had a couple of home runs in the playoffs, whatever. But they keep talking about bringing him up. He can't wait to get him back.
Warren, I'll let you finish. You can't dismiss Stanton and say, he's had some home runs in the playoffs, whatever. They don't go to the World Series in 2024 without the guy. He was the ALCS MVP. He's been, by far, their best playoff hitter since he's been a Yankee. He's been far better than Aaron Judge in the playoffs.
No argument. I'm not arguing that. No, I agree with you. But that being, last year he was okay. But that being said, that's 2 years ago. Every year this guy, now you haven't had him the whole year. So what's going to happen? When Stanton comes back, you're going to probably have to send this kid Jones down, right?
Most likely
So
Spencer
what are you
Jones goes
accomplishing?
down. But the Spencer, again, I like Spencer Jones. I would like to see him play more, but he's hitting 210 this year. Again, if Spencer Jones has to go down to get Stanton back, you know what? That's worth it for the Yankees because you need Stanton's bat come October. They can't score any runs now. He's the one guy that could hit in the playoffs. You want to talk about big picture, maybe moving on from him after this year? Okay, we can have that conversation. There's less money on his contract than Aaron Hicks or DJ LeMahieu had, for example, when the Yankees got rid of them when they still had years left. So we could have that conversation then. But for this year, I'm not getting rid of Stan. I'm going to hope I could squeeze out one more great playoff run from the guy because in a bad American League, that might be exactly what the Yankees need to actually still get to a World Series.
Let me ask you something. I'm not going to argue with you about that. But how good do you think these guys are going to be, him and Judge, by the time they do come back? What kind of shape they're going to be in, the baseball shape? And that's saying that Stanton goes out and he plays 2 games, he doesn't get hurt again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's not like this guy's it's not like he's an automatic. Last year in the playoffs, he was so-so. He wasn't that great.
No, he wasn't very good in the playoffs last year, Warren. But here's the thing.
No.
Here's the problem with just saying, what do you expect from them? I don't know what to expect. I don't think anyone knows. But I don't like the plan of just having a bank on Stanton, Bellinger, and Judge coming back and being great. But that's their only option at this point. The deadline passed. That's why for months, felt like months, maybe it was about a month, I was talking about the trade deadline being like the defining moment for like the Aaron Judge era. Because I don't know if there's baseball next year, and Judge is another year older. I don't know if the Yankees are going to be this healthy from a starting rotation standpoint. And now we've already seen since the deadline, now they've lost Fried again. Get Rodon back. See you later, Max Fried. These were all the points I was making why they should be aggressive and go for it. Bringing in Garcia, nice bat, doesn't exactly fit in an ideal scenario where he's a lefty when you already had a first baseman / DH combo. Like, he's a platoon hitter. He helps you, no doubt, but they needed more. That was the point. But getting rid of Stanton now, why? At this point, you're just hoping you can catch lightning in the bottle with the guy in the playoffs. That's it. You're hoping that he could just provide you some balance to the lefties in the lineup with Judge. And if the pitching's as good as it's been, even without Fried, can you score 4 runs in the playoffs? That should be enough to win most of your playoff games. You look at Stanton's contract here, and it's complicated because the Marlins are paying for a chunk of it, right? The Yankees aren't paying for all of Stanton's money. So Stanton next year is going to make $15 million from the Yankees. $10 million of it is coming from the Marlins, I believe, if I'm reading, Spot Track correctly here. He has a club option for 2028. I think the Yankees could pay Stanton $5 million or so. I could be wrong on these numbers, but again, if they wanted to get out of the Giancarlo Stanton business, they could. The thing is, if he's always hurt, he's not really taking a spot away from someone if you plan for him to be hurt. Like this year, they had Goldschmidt. I don't know who next year's answer to Stanton would be, but I don't know if the Yankees just want to get rid of him. He's also, as Michael has talked about on this radio station, beloved in that room. He's like basically a co-captain to Judge. I'm not against the premise of it because, again, you can't just go into the year expecting Stanton to play. He's proven that doesn't work. But at this point, getting rid of him now, like our caller Warren is suggesting, I don't see why I'm going to get rid of Stanton just so I could have Spencer Jones be on my team. Who's more valuable in a short series? Stanton, who can win a game with his bat, or Jones, who's a really good defender. He's very fast. There's value in having him. Maybe he's on the playoff roster over someone else. Like, I'd rather Spencer Jones than Helio Ramos be on this team come playoff time. But I don't think there's any scenario where they're going to get rid of Stanton now. That would rock the clubhouse at this point. But this goes back to the problem we led the show with. Asking the Yankees just to get magically healthy, suffer no further injuries, and then hit the ground running is asking for a lot if that's your ideal path, your dream plan for the playoffs. And that wasn't the Yankees' dream plan. That was their plan. They said, we don't need a catcher. We're good. Our bullpen's been overused. Clearly, Tim Hill is cooked, but we don't need to add another arm. We're just going to call up Lombard, which should have been done weeks ago. And we're going to add a couple bats, and one of them is like 2 for 25 as a Yankee so far, in Ramos. And doesn't run hard at first base because that's the Aaron Boone clubhouse, baby. That's the culture. That's their plan. I don't like it, but that's the only option. And Stanton, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, if you catch that lightning in the bottle, he's a big part of said plan. 800-919-3776. Connor Hughes covers both the Jets and the Giants for SNY. He's stopping by. The state of New York football. We break it down with Connor. Coming up next, Jake Asman in for Carlin, 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
This is the Michael K. Show.
The general manager of the New York Giants, that is Joe Schoen. Now, one of the things that have been worked on throughout camp is discretion on the part of Jaxson to slide. Do you think he's made strides in that?
You just have to learn. You start coming in every Monday and realizing how bad your body hurts and you feel like you were in a car crash, and half of those hits are, avoidable. And Jackson's a smart kid and understands that, and I think that'll be reflected in his play this year.
The Michael K. Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS4KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to cars4kids.org now or call 877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com, protecting your home inside and out.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696 and manage your diabetes as easy as...
Jake Asman sitting in for Chris Carlin. Q-Tip coming up in the 12 o'clock hour today. He is a huge New York sports fan, huge Jets fan. We'll talk New York sports and about his legendary career with him at that time. We're going to be joined by Connor Hughes, who covers both the Jets and the Giants for SNY in just a couple of minutes here. If you missed it, Aaron Glenn announced an injury timeline for Breece Hall.
Breece and Mike Hill, both of those guys will be out. With Breece with the groin, Mike Hill with the calf. Both those guys will be out 2 to 3 weeks. So those guys will be ready for the regular season.
So good news on Breece. Michael is the Jets' backup linebacker, Michael Walker, who's had a good camp so far, and I thought I actually played pretty good in the Jets preseason opener. So, hopefully he plays well, because as much as I love Demario Davis, and I think he's still a really good football player, and it was a smart move to bring him back, 37 years old playing linebacker. At some point, father time or an injury could happen to a guy who's been an NFL Ironman at that position, which is incredible. So you need some depth there. So that's good news on him as well. The big thing with Breece, fantasy people care about that more than anything, right? Like if you're doing a fantasy draft, and many of you have either done one or you have one coming up, if you're going to draft Jets players, it's either going to be Garrett or Breece. Let's be real. And Breece plays running back, and obviously anyone in fantasy football will tell you, you always lean with the running back over receiver because it thins up so quick. And Breece last year had over 1,000 yards playing on an offense where the quarterback couldn't complete the forward pass. So now if Geno Smith can complete the forward pass, in theory that should open things up for Breece Hall if he just stays healthy. You won't have to face as many 9 or 10-man boxes. That's the thing. Also, I just received a text message from Connor. Can you resend the email? So I'm going to resend him the old Airlink email. So hold on. While I do this, let me play some sound from Robert Saleh that I wanted to address. So Breece is going to be ready for week 1. Robert Saleh, now the head coach of the Titans, he was on the Rich Eisen show yesterday, and Rich Eisen asked him about some of the mistakes he's learned from when he was coaching the Jets.
I've been vocal with regard to, trying so hard to control narrative, to keep a positive light around the New York Jets. It meant well. I was trying my best to work with the people around the building, outside the building, to make sure that the messaging around the team wasn't a way that allowed us to go operate, when in reality, none of that matters. When you win, you're a winner. When you lose, you're a loser. And the narrative will be whatever that result is.
Robert Saleh tried to control the narrative that he was texting with Joe Beningo about his thoughts on the backup quarterback situation. I think Saleh's a nice guy. I think what he said there, though, is actually pretty fair. Right? He tried so hard to be buddy-buddy with people in the media in this town, form relationships with everyone. Like, you talk to anyone who covered the Jets, like, they all had Saleh's numbers. They all texted with him. Like, he was so focused on trying to control, like, this positive message. And it's like, dude, you want positivity, win football games. So he's right there. I don't know how he will be as a head coach. What I do know is that Robert Saleh, in his second year as the Jet coach, they were 6-3 with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. 7-4 when Mike White took over, and then he got hurt, and they lost the final 6 games. But that team was good enough to go to the playoffs if they just had any semblance of quarterback play. And then they make the move for Aaron Rodgers. He goes down 4 plays in, and that was really it. They never recovered from that. Saleh could coach defense, though. So I'm sure Tennessee's going to be dramatically better on that side of the ball. The Jets need to be ready to play. They need to be ready to go from the get-go. That game, I've talked about it, is so important because it sets the tone for the whole year. You started 0-7 last year. The coach is on the hot seat. Your next 3 games after that, you're going to be significant underdogs in. You're a slight underdog against the Titans in the opener. But then the Jets will come home, play Green Bay. You'll be an underdog in that one. You'll be a bigger underdog on the road at Detroit and then at Chicago in weeks 3 and 4. This can't snowball again. You have to win a game you're not supposed to win. And if you win week 1 and maybe steal one of your next 3, could you be 2-2 before you play the Cleveland Browns in week 5 with a chance to get to 3-2? Like, that would be real improvement. But to me, it continues to go back to week 1 being so important for the Jets. One more from Bobby Saleh here. Here's Saleh on what's different coaching in Tennessee than coaching in New York.
Keep the main thing the main thing. I always talk to the players about controlling what they've got full control over, and for me, I've got to practice what I preach, and so for me, it's just keeping the main thing, doing everything I can to put our players in position to be the best they can possibly be. Outside noise is outside noise, but focusing on the team, the roster, focusing on us, and giving everything I've got to making sure that the players are in the best position to succeed.
So is that something you weren't doing before, or
No, you were, but self-admittedly, when you look at the past, and I've said it before, I've been vocal with regard to trying so hard to control narrative, to keep a positive light around the New York Jets. It meant well. I was trying my best to work with the people around the building, outside the building, to make sure that the messaging around the team wasn't a way that allowed us to go operate, when in reality, none of that shit matters. When you win, you're a winner. When you lose, you're a loser. And the narrative will be whatever that result is.
And Saleh didn't win enough in New York. He was 20-36, and Aaron Glenn is 3-14 through a year. So they meet week 1, and we all know how big that game is for the Jets. More on the Jets right now and the Giants. We're excited to be joined by SNY insider for both teams in this town, Connor Hughes. Connor, always appreciate your time. Thanks for popping on with us.
I appreciate you for having me, man.
So let's start with the Giants, because I know you've been covering them the last couple of days, and they're about to have a huge practice today. I saw 1:30-4 full pads. How would you assess where they're at in year 1 with Harbaugh so far?
It's coming along. I think, honestly, Jake, the biggest thing right now is that offense doesn't look super cohesive, which is understandable, and I think some of that makes some sense when you start to think about it, because Jaxson Dart is a unique quarterback. He's not your prototypical drop back passer. At least that's not what he's been throughout his career. What makes Jaxson special is a lot of that off script stuff that he does. And what Brian Dable did last year, and part of this was out of self-preservation for himself, was construct an offense that Jaxson Dart would be able to step into and have success with right away. So it was a lot of RPOs, a lot of read options, a lot of getting the quarterback out and moving, and very similar, I think, to what he did at Ole Miss, similar to those high school, college concepts. Now, Matt Nagy's come in here And he is not running college concepts. He's not running what Brian Daboll did a year ago. Matt Nagy is in here, and he's running the Andy Reid system. And he's trying to teach that Andy Reid system to Jaxson Dart. And so Dart is under center a lot more than he's ever been in his football playing career. He's doing 3- and 5-step drops for the first time extensively in his football career. And I think doing those things that he's not necessarily comfortable with, it looks like when he's on the field that he's still at this point uncomfortable. So there are moments and throws and times where you're like, oh, there it is, but it's just not consistent. And I think that offensive inconsistencies that we've seen the last 3 weeks or so is one of the reasons why you kind of look at this camp like, but at the same time, it's a learning curve, which you knew you were going to have an experience.
In terms of the Giants, it feels like, of course, and rightfully so, the focus has been on Dart, the offense, Harbaugh. How about the defense, though, Connor? What have you seen from this defensive group? No Dexter Lawrence, but they, of course, bring in Edmonds in free agency. They draft Arvell Reese with their first-round pick. What do you reasonably expect from the Giants' defense this year?
You want him to be better, and you can loop in Denard Wilson as the new defensive coordinator, someone who many people around the league believe has head coaching potential, that he's a guy that is on the fast track to getting there. It's so funny because I've been in enough training camps before where you see an offense struggle because the defense is dominating. And the Jets are an example of that. I mean, there were several years there early in my career and even sometimes there with Robert Saleh where the defense was just so ahead of the offense that it was one of those things where the secondary was just press man and just dominating at the line. And then the pass rush was getting home. And the offense had no chance to do anything because the offensive line was breaking down, guys weren't open, all that stuff. I think the defense has had moments, whether it was Abdul Carter to begin training camp in West Virginia, just having a couple dominant practices. And Arvell Reese, you mentioned him. He looks very much like a difference-making player at linebacker. And Edmonds has been good. And Tay Banks, the overlooked former first-round pick, kind of cast aside, has really had a resurgence this year under Wilson in this scheme. And other guys obviously stepped up as well. We all know what Brian Burns can do. But I think I don't get the vibe at camp that this is an example of a defense that is just dominating the offense as much as it is an offense that is just struggling. And I think when I analyze the Giants defense as a whole, just looking at them separate from what the offense is doing, my biggest concerns with them right now still remain at cornerback in spite of Tay Banks having a really good summer. And then at that interior of the defensive line where they're going to have to stop some runs. The Giants were putrid a season ago stopping the run. They believe Reeder and Harris, who did not play in the preseason opener against the Vikings, should make things better. But I still think that even on their best days, they're probably still going to be a below average run stuffing team.
Two quick Giant receiver related questions for you as we're talking with Connor Hughes of SNY here on Carlin, Jake Asman sitting in for Chris. Does OBJ make the team, and will Malik Neighbors definitely be out there week 1 against the Cowboys?
If the Giants keep 7 receivers, I think there's a pretty good chance that Odell can make it. Now, he's had a very, very quiet summer. I mean, even yesterday, like I know I saw Art mention this, and some fans got like real up in arms that Odell worked a ton with Jaxson Dart, and he did work more with Jaxson Dart, but it was still as the second-team receiver. There was a day in West Virginia where Odell legitimately got first-team reps. Like, he was out there as one of the top 3 receivers in practice. It was him, Darnell Mooney, and Calvin Austin. Those were the Giants' starting 3 receivers for a whole practice. That wasn't the case yesterday. Odell was still working with the 2s. The Giants just ran so many pass plays. I think in 11-on-11 drills, Jaxson Dart attempted 23 throws, which was a lot. So when they would bring in that second grouping of receivers with Dart, Odell trotted on out there. But still, he only caught 1 pass in 11-on-11 drills, and it was from Jameis Winston. In camp, I think Dan Duggan had these numbers. It's 4 total receptions throughout all of the practices from Jaxson Dart in 11-on-11 period. So he's getting open. You see it. You watch the film on the all-22 of the Vikings, and it does look like he's getting open. He's just not getting thrown the ball. So, I mean, look, probably because he's not the number 1 read on plays, but it's something to watch. I mean, I think his odds increase if they keep 7. If they only keep 6, considering Odell does not do anything other than play receiver, he's not a returner, doesn't play gunner, I think the odds become a little bit lower. And then as for Malik Neighbors, Jake, everything the Giants have done since the very first day has indicated that they are doing everything they can to make sure he is on the field for week 1 against the Cowboys. That was still the case yesterday when he took part in 7-on-7, 11-on-11 drills, albeit in a red non-contact jersey. Now, the Giants are in full pads today. It was a really hard workout for Malik yesterday. I'm curious if he's back out there today, or if they're going to dial it back. We'll see. But I think what it's trending towards, based off of watching him run, I don't know if he's going to be ready for a 60 to 70 play workload in that opener against the Cowboys, but I could see them having a package of plays 15 to 20 snaps for him. I think that at a minimum is what the Giants are trying to get to.
Moving to the Jets, good job by you. You were the first to report that the Breece Hall.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
I got to give credit where it's due. You were the first to report that Breece Hall's groin strain is nothing serious. Glenn confirmed that report earlier today when he spoke. Are you fully confident that the Jets are going to get, a healthy Breece Hall week 1 against Robert Saleh and the Titans?
I'm very confident he's going to be out there. So what I was told, and going to confirm this, it's a 2-week injury and you got 4 weeks before the opener. Now, I think the Jets are going to be very cautious. That's the way that it was described to me by team sources. They're going to take their time. So while he could be back in 2 weeks, I bet you they keep him on ice until 3 weeks and then give him a week to practice before the game. But soft tissue injuries, groin issues, same as hamstring injuries, I mean, they tend to linger a little bit. So will we see a 100% Breece Hall the first couple weeks of the season? I don't know, but I do expect him to be out there in the opener, yeah.
From what you've seen from the Jets, and of course covering their first preseason game on Friday, what have you made of this team so far? What has really stood out to you?
I assumed going into the season, and I still don't think they're going to be good, but I thought the defense was going to be a disaster. I did. I thought they were going to have a lot of issues. I looked at it and I said, the cornerbacking situation is a problem. Safety is a problem. Love DeMario Davis, but I worry about his age and I worry about Jamin Sherwood next to him. David Bailey looks like a star already, undeniably the Jets' best pass rusher, but who do they have rushing the quarterback outside of him, considering it really has not been a very good summer for Will McDonald? Then you worry about there were so many questions. I thought the offense was going to be fun. The defense was going to have some problems. After watching the summer, those joint practices with the Bucs, I think the defense is going to be feisty. I still don't think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't think they're going to be a top 15, top 10 unit. But I think they're going to be feisty, and I think they're going to fight, and I think they're going to claw, and I think they're going to embrace playing ugly, and they're just never going to go away. They're going to be like that little dog that just nips at your heels and annoys the hell out of you for 18 weeks. I think that's what you're going to get from the Jets defense. Offensively, they're going to go, and this sounds like such a broken record, Jake, but they are going to go as far as the quarterback takes them. And with Geno Smith right now, I saw a good practice early on, my first day or two with the Jets after a week in West Virginia. It hasn't looked good since. It's the turnovers, the skittishness in the pocket, the aggressiveness that we all have been talking about. Like, oh, Geno's going to stretch the ball down the field. He's going to attack. He's going to attack. He's going to attack. He seemed more passive and timid to throw the ball down the field, especially in those joint workouts with the Bucs. And then what we've seen from him since. So it's just, I'm worried more now about the offense than I was before because of Geno. And I don't trust what they have behind him. I think Cade's a good developmental project. I don't think he's ready to play meaningful snaps on Sundays yet. I just don't see that from him yet. So, again, maybe this is an ankle issue and Geno's going to shake it off and then be fine. But that quarterback spot, if he's going to go the Russell Wilson route like he did when he got to the Bucs, or not the Buccaneers, the Broncos, and then the Giants, where he's timid, Steelers too. He's timid. He doesn't really want to stretch the ball down the field, terrified of throwing interceptions, so it's a lot of dinking and dunking. I think that could prove troublesome for the Giants. They need the Geno that's going to play the effort ball, that sees a 50-50 opportunity out there with AD or Garrett or Omar Cooper or Isaiah and says, you know what, forget it. That's 70-30 in favor of mine. I'm taking the odds and I'm taking a shot. They need that quarterback, not one that's going to be timid. And I haven't seen that from Geno yet. So I'm a little more nervous about the offense than I was, but I also feel better about the defense than I did.
Connor Hughes is our guest, talking all things Jets and Giants with the SNY New York Football Insider. You bring up Geno. I think so much of it is not just him, it's also Frank Reich. From what you've heard from players and just talking with people about Frank Reich, does he have a 2015 Chan Gailey type of year left in him? Because if the Jets are going to surprise, they need both Geno and Frank Reich to be able to put together a successful offense here.
Yeah, I mean, historically, you look at what Frank's done the last, several years that he's been the play caller, whether that was his final couple years in Indianapolis, then what happened in Carolina, and then even in Stanford. Like, it hasn't been great. But I think what the players love about him, and this is a little bit more than what they had with Mike LaFleur, and certainly more than what they had with Nathaniel Hackett and Todd Downing, is that this offense and this scheme is very player collaborative. So he's asking Garrett what he likes to do and then designing things around Garrett and what he likes to do. He's asking AD the same questions, Isaiah the same questions, Omar the same questions. It's a very player-friendly scheme in terms of what he's asking. And that makes sense. I mean, Frank was a former player. He's done this for a very long time. He's got some talent. So he's got a good football mind is what I mean by saying that. So I think this is going to be one of the more functional offenses at baseline than what we've seen from the Jets in recent years because of Frank's collaborative approach with the players. And then also, Jake, I mean, the players that the Jets have this year, and this even goes back to the years they had Aaron Rodgers, I think there is more talent on this field from the offensive perspective than you've seen from the Jets maybe since 2015. And I understand there's questions, which is an irony because to start that season, Geno was also the quarterback. But in 2015, you had Brandon, you had Eric, you had Chris Ivory, you had a lot of weapons there that you could work with. If I'm not mistaken, Curley was also there in 2015. And then you kind of saw Chris Owusu develop, or not Owusu, I'm sorry, Quincy Enunwa develop a little bit later on in that tenure as well to become another receiving option for this team. Is that, just physical beast athlete in the receiving unit. You had a lot there. You can make those comparisons now because you've got the two wide receivers in Garrett and AD and Cooper developing as well. You have a bunch of tight ends, whether it's Mason, Rucker, who they like a lot, Kenyon Sadiq as that versatile weapon, a three-headed rushing attack, and probably the best offensive line cumulatively that the Jets have had since 2015. So there's a lot of pieces in place here to have some fun on offense. And look, I still don't see the Jets winning more than 5 or 6 games this season. That's probably what their ceiling is, maybe 7, but I think that's probably stretching it. But I think you're going to see an offense that puts up some points as opposed to in recent years where it's just been like, oh, the offense is back on the field, roll your eyes, go to the bathroom, grab another beer from the fridge.
So what you just described, I think is a scenario where this head coach is getting fired because I don't look at this team and go, they're bereft of talent. This is one of the worst teams in the NFL. They win 5 games after they won 3 last year. You have 8 wins through 2 years. I don't know how Woody Johnson is going to look this fan base in the face and retain this head coach. So, in your opinion, what's the path for Aaron Glenn actually getting a 3rd season with Darren Muji as the GM?
5 wins, 4 wins, 3 wins, and less. I mean, that's tough to justify a return. 5 wins is tough. I could see it at 6, depending on how that 6 looks and how the season ends. I could see it at 6. If they get to 7, absolutely he's coming back. I mean, if you can get to 7 with all those draft picks that are coming, guys develop. You see it with Cooper. You see it with Garrett being happy. Sadiq looks like a player. David Bailey takes off. The defense, which Aaron Glenn is now calling, takes a legitimate step from the disaster that it was a season ago. I think that's when you can justify it. I mean, 6 wins, depending on how the 6 looks. 7 absolutely is coming back. 5, it's going to be tough. 5 is a tough one. Is a tough one to come back from.
I think it's how it looks too, right? Because not all 7-win seasons are the same. Gase won 7 his first year. Who cares? He started 1-7. What if their 7th win is the Bills in Week 18, resting all their starters? So I think getting off to a good start, and you know this, it's imperative. Their first 4 games, they're on the road in 3 of them. They're going to be huge underdogs in 3 of those 4. They
got to keep games close. Yeah. They can't be getting their teeth kicked in. That's the big thing, dude. Like you said, how they look. If they win 6 games, but in all the games they lose, they're just, down by 20 and 30, and say it's a blowout in the first 3 quarters and somehow they fight their way back to make it semi-respectable. That's not good. You need to be competing and competitive and grinding it out weeks 1 through 18. You need to just be the thorn in everybody's side. Now, the Giants made the playoffs this year, the year I'm about to discuss, but that first year with Brian Dable, that roster was dreadful, dude. That year they made the playoffs and then beat the Vikings, who were such a fraud team that year. That was the easiest bet in the world, was to say the Giants are going to win that playoff game. But that year that they won, the Giants had a terrible football team. They didn't have weapons. They didn't have a real good defense. But what they did was they embraced playing ugly. They were going to drag you into the deep end and see if you could swim. Now, that season, I have never seen a football team get as many bounces go their way as the Giants did that year. I mean, they got every single break, and kudos to them. They made the playoffs as a result, but they got every single break early in that season. That style of play, though, that they played that year with Dable and Wink and just, you know what, guys, we know every game we're going to be at the Madden overall talent disadvantage. Doesn't matter. We're just going to play dirty. I think that's how they have to go about this.
Last one for me, just looking at the big picture for this Jets team. They have the 3 first-round picks. They have the cap space. I saw a story on ESPN today where Darren Muji was ranked as the 11th best general manager in the sport already, so just outside the top 10. Should Jet fans truly believe, maybe we don't have the coach, but we have the right GM to hopefully put this team together, maybe hire a coach, and obviously draft a quarterback next year?
Look, if you can feel very confident, not based off potential, but off of what you actually see on the field, off of his first draft class. Not off potential, what you actually see with your eyes off of his first draft class. And then you see it with David Bailey, who he took over Arvell Reese. That wasn't a slam dunk, no doubt pick number 2. There was a debate there amongst everybody, should they take Reese or Bailey? Should they Reese or Bailey? If Bailey looks like a stud and he made the right decision there, and the rest, Cooper develops and takes off, and Sadiq looks like a legitimate playmaker. If you start to see that, then yes, I think you can believe in it. The thing that I keep, and I love Darren, I have a really good relationship with him, but when you just analyze what he has done to this point, if you want to be glass half empty as opposed to glass half full, because that approach you're taking, that's glass half full. So I'll just play devil's advocate. I like Darren a lot. I think he's a great dude, and I believe in him. I genuinely do. I feel as confident with him as I felt in any general manager recently. But if you want to take the glass half empty approach to this, just playing devil's advocate, it's that everything he's done to this point has, yes, he's accumulated a ton of draft capital. He's made a nice, whether it's Phillips or the little moves that he's made on the side to fill lower level roster. That's good. That's fine. Great. I love it. But they haven't been difference-making moves. And even all those moves he made last year to grab in little guys who you kind of believe in, they still only won 3 games. So it was still a terrible football team. Everything he's done was, yeah, he got a ton of draft picks for Sauce Gardner, but you still traded Sauce Gardner. You got a ton of draft picks for Quinn Williams. You still traded Quinn Williams. You now need to replace those players and show that all of the assets you acquired, you can now use to round out and make a better football team. I think you can have a pretty good feeling based off of the potential of this draft class and also now what you're legitimately 100% seeing from the class before to say to yourself, okay, yeah, we've got the right guy. Right now, again, I think it's still banking on upside and what you believe, not totally what you know yet. I think at the end of this year, depending on how those two things plan out, that's when you'll turn around and be like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Totally agree. Connor, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much for popping on with us.
No problem, dude. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm off to Giants camp here, so we're got a little drive up there. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, pads. Let's do it.
Connor Hughes with us, SNY Jets and Giants reporter, covering both teams, of course. And as you heard him say, on his way to Giants camp, where the pads are on from 1:30 to 4 today. And then the Giants are traveling tomorrow, joint practice with the Dolphins on Thursday. So we'll see how the Giants compare to another team, a team that's supposed to be tanking and the worst team in the league. So we'll see if the Giants look good against Miami in their joint practice Thursday. Then they play an actual preseason game on Saturday. Jets in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers Friday night. That's their next preseason game. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Lots still to do. Q-Tip joining us in the final hour of the show. Keep it right here. Jake Asman in for Carlin on ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg.
I firmly believe I have the coach. I less believe, but still believe I have the quarterback. And if you tell me a team has a coach and a quarterback, you know what? I believe that they can do something special. I think Harbaugh is a really good coach, and he will build this into a championship team.
DiPietro and Rothenberg, morning 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
The 2026 U.S. Open Tennis Championships are back, where the world's greatest city meets the world's greatest tennis players. Fan Week begins August 23rd. Experience the Mixed Doubles Championship on the 25th and 26th. And the U.S. Open Singles Championship starts Sunday, August 30th. All tickets on sale now at usopen.org. The U.S. Open. Spectacular awaits.
You're in charge of ordering boxes. Small boxes, big boxes, really big boxes. You're in charge of tape, labels, mailers, bubble wrap, extra bubble wrap, just for fun. You're in charge of warehouse cleaning and safety supplies. Good thing there's Uline. Thousands of quality products for your business and warehouse needs, always in stock, ready to ship same day, and backed by Uline's legendary 24/7 customer service. Uline makes it easy because you already do enough. Uline. We warehouse for you.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking from Rings End. Picture this, a deck that's the highlight of your backyard, turning heads season after season. Now, imagine 20, 30 years later. It's still going strong. And here's the best part. You haven't spent a moment sanding, staining, or sealing it. Visit your local Rings End for the stunning real wood looks of TimberTech decking, paired with the kind of durability that only advanced engineering can deliver. Backed by industry-leading warranties, TimberTech is the decking that performs for decades. Ask for it locally at Rings End.
Winning football teams have a playbook. Winning businesses? They've got Robert Half. Because when your star player's out or the workload blitzes, you need the right move fast. That's where Robert Half's specialized recruiters, together with their award-winning AI technology, step in, matching companies with skilled contract talent across finance, tech, legal, and more. It's depth on your bench. It's keeping the drive alive. Visit roberthalf.com/talent. At Robert Half, we know talent.
When you tell someone what team you cheer for, do they apologize? Does your first childhood memory involve crying on a Jumbotron? Then you may be a fan of a BST or bad sports team. Luckily, when you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you're protected from things like fire damage caused by violently unplugging the TV. Or an accidental overhand left to the drywall. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Covered subject to policy terms. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the Michael K. Show.
The general manager of the New York Giants, that is Joe Schoen. Now, one of the things that have been worked on throughout camp is discretion on the part of Jaxson to slide. Do you think he's made strides in that?
You know, you just have to learn. You start coming in every Monday and realizing how bad your body hurts and you feel like you were in a car crash, and half of those hits are, avoidable. And Jackson's a smart kid and understands that, and I think that'll be reflected in his play this year.
The Michael K. Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Sad news to share. ESPN founder Bill Rasmussen, who's out of the box idea of a 24-hour cable sports network that forever changed the landscape of sports media, he died today at the age of 93. So sad news there, but what an absolute legend in this space and what he did for live sports television. And obviously, you found ESPN that changed sports in this country and around the world forever. So game changer for the ages, ESPN wrote in their tweet, paying homage to Bill Rasmussen, and I think it's well said. So thank you for everything to Bill, and obviously sending love to his family. 800-919-3776. We got Q-Tip joining us at the beginning of next hour. Let's see if we could squeeze in Artie in Brooklyn before then. Hello, Artie.
Jake, you're the man. How's everything going, bud?
What's up, Artie? I'm fantastic. What do you got for us?
All right. Well, listen. I mean, if we had Frank Reich and Baker Mayfield on this team right now, how many wins for the Jets?
I think they still would be, probably 8. Maybe 9.
Okay, so you be fair then. If that's the case, and they got Geno, and you're saying that 6-7 wins is not enough to keep AG, it's not right.
I don't think 5 or 6 is, Artie. I don't think 5 is or 6.
Agree.
7, I think, is borderline.
Right.
I brought up, what if it's 6 wins going into the last week of the year and Matt Barkley's playing, or Mitch Trubisky's playing quarterback for the Bills again, and you beat them? Not all 7-win seasons are the same. It's the eye test as well. Do they have division wins? How does it look when they play the Titans week 1? Do they have a season where they don't start 0-7? Are they 4-4 through 8 when you have some winnable games over their first 8? I think it's not just the win total that's part of it, of course, but I think it's how it looks as well. Is the defense dramatically better? Glenn's taken over the play calling. Can the defense be a reason why they win some games they're not supposed to, like what we saw with Salah for a lot of those years?
Right. I mean, and as far as Connor, he was looking at the talent and stuff and saying that the defense, to me, they brought in a whole bunch of guys, and I just think that they should be so much better than last year, and that's all on Glenn. If this team is not playing to the top, I'm not saying top 5, but definitely top 10, then that's definitely on the coach. And I'll have all my trust in Muji. I honestly think he's looking at this team. If this team is not doing, well, he's going back to tanking. Not tanking per se, but he's got his mind on a different coach and getting a quarterback. And there's going to be a quarterback out there, whether through the draft or through trades. There's going to be two guys. If they don't get it done by 6, 7 wins, there's going to be two new guys out there with a coach and a new quarterback.
Absolutely.
And I think we're on our way, buddy.
Yeah.
I think we're on our way.
Good call,
All right.
Artie. I agree with you. And look, if Glenn can't prove he has what it takes, there's light at the end of the tunnel when you have some young players we feel good about, 3 first-round picks. Maybe the Colts also stink and the Jets have 2 picks in the top 10. Who knows? But if you have a good GM, and I think we like Darren Muji, you could paint an optimistic future. So let's hope that remains the case, because we felt good about Joe Douglas till we didn't as well. But I'll try to be positive because I get accused of being too negative. That said, coming up, an absolute legend in the hip-hop space is going to join us. Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. He joins us next right here on Carlin. Jake Asman in for Chris on ESPN New York.
ESPN New York is your home for the world champion New York Knicks. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Oh, yeah, we're back right here on ESPN New York. Jake Asman sitting in for Chris Carlin. We got you for one more hour, and I'm excited about our next guest. When it comes to optimistic Jet fans, this guy might be number one amongst the people I interact with in my life. He also happens to be a legendary rapper and record producer, part of the Hall of Fame hip-hop group Tribe Called Quest. It's our guy Q-Tip who joins us now. Q, appreciate your time, my man. Thanks for calling in.
Yo, Jake, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm not doing as good as you. You're always optimistic.
I mean, we have to be, man. We can't like stay like maligned on the bad side, man. We got to look up, find silver linings. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I am excited. Football is back, so I'm looking forward to this season, no matter how it goes. Let me start with this, because I don't think people realize how big of just a huge New York sports fan you are. Everyone knows you're born in Queens, but where did your fandom start with the Jets? What's your earliest Jets memory that you have?
I mean, you know, just growing up, I mean, just always just a big sports fan of all types, played sports, baseball, football, basketball, box, all of that stuff, you know. And just growing up in New York, you know, you just always are aligned with the sports teams. And then obviously being in Queens, we used to drive by Shea on Sundays and, you know, see all of the green and white. Never got to go to a game of Shea, but just always was like a huge Jets fan. I go back to Richard Todd and Freeman McNeil and Al Toon and Wesley Walker and the Sack Exchange, obviously. But, just all of that, man.
Do you have a favorite Jet of all time?
Favorite Jet of all time? That's tough. That's tough, man. I'd have to say it's between Klecko. It's between Klecko and I'd say Wesley Walker.
Two solid choices.
Because it's just, Wesley Walker is legally blind in one eye, and the guy could see the ball and would just like catch it, really no drops, just one-handed grabs, crazy blazing speed, just a personal fave. But there's so many others. I mean, you could go Revis, you could go Pennington, you could go, Curtis Martin. It's just so many, man.
Now, you famously had a lyric that mentioned Vinny Testaverde in one of your tracks way back in the day. Then he ends up being the Jet quarterback. So, did you ever get a chance to talk to Vinny about that?
No, but Fife, rest in peace to my partner Fife. He was also, we both were just huge sports fans of all sorts, and he actually did meet Vinny Testaverde. But I don't think he took kindly to that because his styles are incomplete like Vinny Testaverde. And then, we just always had little sports references in there, which, was just always good, to have balance in terms of it musically. But, yeah, just the Jets is just always our team, man.
Q-Tip is our guest here on ESPN New York. There's like a saying that has been said so many times, rappers want to be athletes and athletes want to be rappers. Mm-hmm. Was that your experience too, Q-Tip? Would you love the opportunity to kind of relive your life if you could be a professional athlete?
Knowing what I know now and having so many friends across so many different acumens who are professional athletes, no. Because, it's, the toll it takes on your body. It's just, you have to really be committed and, you play until usually in most sports until you're about 35, 40 tops, and then you have the rest of your life. And, those guys are really warriors, man. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm happy with where I'm at.
I'd say it worked out pretty well for you. Let's talk about this current Jet team, and then I got some questions from you about your career. Because when I told people I was having you on, the amount of things people were telling me to ask you, I got to fire these off. But as far as the current Jets team goes, I joked at the top, you're always optimistic. After last year, looking at this team right now, Geno Smith is back at the quarterback, Glenn here for another season. What gives you hope that this season could be better than most Jet fans expect?
The thing that gives me hope is, I know that you may not agree with this, but I just feel that Glenn and Muji have kind of recognized, their first year errors and addressed it in certain ways. First of all was in the roster, right? A lot of the free agent signings that they did to, bolster up the trenches on the defensive side. Having Sweat come over for Jermaine, who was a, team favorite, and we all loved him. But that, and then bringing in, vets in the offseason from Double D to Mario Davis, and to bring in our safety, Mika, and, to kind of give tutelage to our younger core, who I think that we have some promise. Although, the secondary, we still don't know what we're going to do at safety too much. We have Mika there, but who's going to play besides him, But I feel like that what Glenn and Muji did in terms of personnel was hopeful. I think that the offensive line is great. We have two great tackles. And Membu is just, he's a stud, bro. You know what I mean? Like, bro looked like he could be an all-pro. And Olu there. We have a style left tackle. We have Chipman in there. We're looking for a center still. So I feel like, if Breece has a little bit of a groin thing, but I don't think that that's going to be too much to hobble him. And obviously Garrett, and, we're looking for Adonai Mitchell. And, Muji was the head of some savvy off-season moves. So that's optimistic. And in terms of Glenn, I think that Glenn has learned, and I think from the first year to now, I think his tenor is definitely different, and I just really, I don't know, I have faith in him. Plus, he's one of my favorite Jets of all time too, you know what I mean? So I'm just rooting for the hometown and the home team, man, and I feel like think that this guy can hopefully pull things around and bring in somebody sage like Frank Reich and having Rex son in there, you know what I mean? It just feels like a formula for something that could get us like 8-9 wins hopefully this year, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
maybe
what.
Even sneak it to like the hopefully we're in December before Christmas and we're in that outside of the bubble.
In the hunt, you want to be in the graphic, right?
I want to be in the hunt, man. I want to be in that graphic, bro.
I love it. You mentioned Muji a couple of times there. That's what gives me hope, big picture, with the amount of draft capital they have, 3 first-round picks, cap space. I agree with your assessment on the roster. I think they have some good young players here, and I've been really encouraged by what we've heard about David Bailey so far. How much faith do you have in Darren Muji, big picture, to put together a winning team?
I mean, I do. I think that, obviously coming over from Denver and sitting behind there and, having the advantage to be over there with, Sean Payton and, all of his time and stuff and being a quarterback and kind of assessing things. I think that he's proven to be, very prudent and frugal, but still he's able to get a lot out of what he's done so far. He doesn't show his hand, and he's in lockstep with the coach, So it doesn't seem like there's two different brains at work. They seem pretty much aligned. So, I think I'm really hopeful. And next year, like we said, having 3 first-rounders and it's supposed to be a quarterback-rich draft. I think a lot of Jets fans are going to be, if we hadn't watched college football, we're going to be paying close attention because we have, so many spoils for next year. So I think that I'm definitely confident in him.
Love it. We're talking with Q-Tip, legendary rapper, record producer, part of the legendary Hall of Fame hip-hop group Tribe Called Quest. When you were getting started, Q-Tip, what was the moment for you early on when you realized this could be something you actually can make a career in, let alone have the career that you ended up having?
Wow. Just growing up in New York, I went to, at the time I went to school. I'm not going to age myself here on this Tuesday here, Jake. I'm not going to do it, But I'm just going to say that I'm a tried and true New York kid. At the time I came up in New York, I went to the school called Murray Bergstrom High School. It is in the Lower East Side, across from the police headquarters. And you had to get accepted to get in. So I had pretty cool grades. So I went in and I wanted to be an engineer. But then, when I got into music in high school, it was kind of cathartic for me because my father was battling with emphysema and he passed when I was in the 10th grade. So for me, I really just dug in at a very early age and was writing songs at 15 and all that stuff. And, I was just, still following, trying to have my naivete, although I was forced to grow up pretty quick. So I guess in high school, I kind of realized that it could really be real. I was pretty lucky in that way, pretty fortunate and blessed in that way.
You and Fife basically knew each other like your entire lives before.
Oh yeah,
it all kind of came together. So, like, is it surreal to think back on your experience with him, knowing that you guys went from friends, childhood friends, to here you are, and of course you guys were inducted as a group into that Hall of Fame a couple of years ago in Cleveland?
Yeah, it was just really crazy. We never really envisioned it, right? Because again, we just grew up. We grew up in it and came into it as kids. It wasn't like we were in our 20s. We were in our teens when we were first cutting our records. So we still had a lot of our imagination, our naivete, being naive and, not really knowing anything was kind of a blessing, so to speak, because we weren't jaded. We didn't have any predispositions of regression or predispositions of doubt. You know what I mean? We were just kids. So you know how it is. You have a kid, you feel like you're kind of invincible. You could do anything. You have youth on your side. So all of those things played a part for me and my partner, who we knew each other since we were 5 years old, and just playing sports, listening to music, going to school and all that stuff. And it's just all been a dream, Jake. I promise you. Life is it can be tough, but you really can put your heart to something and your mind to something and focus, and you could really, live out your dreams. And I'm doing that currently, so I couldn't be happier.
I love it. Is there a Phife Dawg lyric or a verse that still makes you smile whenever you get a chance to hear it?
Oh man, so many. I think one of the ones, we had a song on our third album called Electric Relaxation, and I know this is a PG show, so we're not going to get too blue here, but for all of those in New York who are of the age, you remember Siemens Furniture Store, and the tagline would be "See Siemens First," and the commercial would be like, "See Siemens First for your Labor Day." For your Labor Day extravaganza, get this 3-piece living room set for $899. Get this table set, and they had the tagline, "See Siemens First," or something like that. So Phife in Electric Relaxation said, he said he would, how can I say it? He would relieve himself on your couch. And so you could, like Siemens Furniture, so you could see where he comes from. I tried to work around that as best I could, Jake. Please forgive me. I hope the SEC is not breathing down your neck right now. But everybody out there, you could kind of do some digging and some recognizance on your own.
Yes, don't worry. We didn't get dubbed. My producers gave it the thumbs up, so you were good, Q-Tip. Don't you worry.
Okay, good.
For you, Q-Tip, like in your career, like you mentioned how early you started. Like when you look back, are you able to really take in just how many people have come out since and said that your work has really influenced them? I mean, some of the biggest people in the hip-hop space.
Take it in and accept. It's great. It's a great feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? Almost as great as the Knicks winning, but I know Phife would love that.
Yeah.
You like that little segue. I'm still in orange and blue skyland, man. I still can't believe it, man.
It will hopefully make the Jet pain, if there is pain, a little easier to take, knowing that if the Knicks could win a championship, there's hope to see our Jets do it too.
I think we're on the right path here, man. I really do. I think that we're on a good path here. I think we're gonna surprise some people. It may get a little slippery, but I feel like that we're on a good trajectory here, man.
I love it. A couple quick hitters for you before we let you run. We're talking, of course, with Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, Hall of Famer, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2024. In your career, you've worked with so many famous artists and collabed with so many famous people. But who's your favorite collab that you've ever had a chance to work with? Your favorite person to collab with?
Oh wow, man! I've worked with so many people over the years.
You can name a couple if that's easier for you.
I could name a couple. Yeah, I would have to. I'd say probably Prince. And, he and I were really, really cool. And we worked on a few things together. Stevie Wonder. Man. It's Yoko Ono. Nas. Whitney Houston. That was fun. I've kind of been around, man. But those are some of the faves. Like, I really enjoy kind of all of it. It's always great to collaborate and work with people. And, when you're creating and you're making stuff and you're going through it and you're in the trenches and you're working on songs and stuff or doing things. Janet Jackson was a great thing. And, it was just fun to do, and to see something that you imagine become realized and whatnot. You know what I mean? So it's good.
Who are some of the younger artists today that you love, that excite you creatively?
Oh, man. So many, man. I mean, you know, I love Olivia Dean right now. I'm listening to her stuff a lot. She's really dope. She was at the Garden a couple of nights ago.
I saw that,
She's dope. Yeah, she's an amazing talent. You know, Kendrick, of course, and Tyler, and you know, I love Tame Impala, and you know, it's just a lot of great younger talents and newer talents that I check out. You know, Doechii is really great and fun and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's a lot of exciting stuff out here, man.
I mean, you've accomplished so much in music. So at this point, what still motivates you, Q-Tip? Like, what gets you out of bed, excited to go to work and work on different projects these days?
Well, it's just the song, Jake. It's like it's almost like an athlete. You know, we're kind of closely related in terms of in what we do, right? Like when you train for something and you work out and you know that you put the practice in, you put the time in, because it takes time, right? And it takes dedication. And then you come up with something, you come up with a move, or you work on your jumper, or you got your swing down, or you add another pitch to your arsenal. And, you know, at first when you're starting, it's not always there, but then you see through your time that you put in it that it starts to improve. That's the thing that really gets me going. And I think you can apply that to anything in life, right? Like no matter what you're doing, whether you're driving at Amazon or whether you're working for the city or something, if you have a hobby or something you do with your buddies or your girls, if you're throwing darts or you're going bowling, or if you're working out, you're trying to get the set, you start off like at a very humble level, but the more time you put in and you actually see the results, that's the thing that gets you going. That's the thing that gets me out of bed. That's the thing that, you know, excites me about, you know, making music, man. It's just endless, different permutations of music and chords and melodies and just new technology. So it's just all still, it's just very exciting.
Q-Tip, if the Jets ever win a Super Bowl, can there be some sort of track that you make, some sort of anthem that we as Jet fans could be blasted to celebrate? Can we get you to put something together?
Yeah, and I'd have to. I'm saying it here. I'd have to do it with Method Man, because Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan. Shouts out to Wu-Tang. My brothers, they're going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year as well. But you know, Meth is also a big Jets fan, so maybe we get a Method Man abstract thing that we do. You know.
I'll tell you what, you're obviously a huge Jet fan, huge celebrity Jet fan. I could confirm so is Method Man, because I was at the preseason game Friday night, and sitting 2 rows behind me was Method Man. So anyone who's going to a Jet preseason game in August on a Friday night, they're a diehard in my book.
He's got season tickets. He's got season tickets. He's had season tickets for years. He just goes and sits in the stands. You know what I mean? And Meth is a pretty serious athlete and trainer as well. Like, so he's in it. You know what I mean? So. I'll definitely do something with Meth. I
love it. Q-Tip, honored to talk to you. Thanks so much for a couple minutes. You know, it's funny, when I found out you were a listener to the Jets podcast, I couldn't believe it. So it's really great to finally get a chance to talk to you over the phone.
Oh, yeah, man.
And talk all Jets with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think that we're going to be all right this year, guys. Let's stay optimistic. Let's not let go of the rope. If you guys are out there in Jets Nation, you know about Green Bean Island. Let's get on Green Bean Island. We're gonna get 9, 10 wins this year, guys. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Jake.
From your lips to God's ears. Q-Tip, you're the best. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother.
Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, part of the legendary Hall of Fame hip hop group. I mean, man, what a legend. So cool. And you really forget just how many hits he was a part of when you go back and listen to the full catalog. But outstanding stuff for him. And I'm telling you, him, Method Man, true Jet fans. You know, some people say they're Jet fans or celebrity fans of a certain team, and you're like, name a player. And they can't. They struggle. They couldn't tell you anything that actually happened. Hardcore fans, which you got to love. if you're a fellow hardcore fan. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Good stuff there from Q-Tip. Lot to do. Jake Asman taking you till 1. Michael K is on the radio today. That's coming your way then. Right now, you got me till 1. We're coming right back on ESPN New York.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
This is the Michael K. Show.
The general manager of the New York Giants, that is Joe Schoen. Now, one of the things that have been worked on throughout camp is discretion on the part of Jaxson to slide. Do you think he's made strides in that?
You know, you just have to learn. You start coming in every Monday and realizing how bad your body hurts and you feel like you were in a car crash, and half of those hits are, avoidable. And Jackson's a smart kid and understands that, and I think that'll be reflected in his play this year.
The Michael K. Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Hey Yankees fans, gather a group of 10 or more and take advantage of our 2026 Yankees group ticket specials. Whether you're getting together with family and friends, organizing a fundraiser, or entertaining clients, your group will love bonding over the Bronx Bombers. Start planning your 2026 group outings today. Log on to Yankees.com/groups. Call 212-YANKEES or email us at groups@Yankees.com. That's 2026 group tickets. Call 212-YANKEES or visit Yankees.com/groups today.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Progressive presents ways to save money that aren't bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive.
Thanks again for taking me to the game, man. I can't wait to get in there. By the way, what's in the bag?
Oh, I bring my own hot dog and peanuts. Saves a ton.
Savvy. And what about the beach chairs?
Why buy seats when you can save big and bring your own?
We can't get in without tickets.
Tickets? What do you think the portable TV is for?
Don't save money pretending to go to the game. You could save hundreds by switching to Progressive. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Rich Eisen here. Running a small business means every hire matters. A bad hire costs time and money, but the right one helps your business grow. The challenge? Finding that person without sorting through resumes. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro comes in. It screens candidates so you can focus on conversations with qualified talent. With Hiring Pro, you can hire with confidence and build the team you need. Join the 2.7 million small businesses using LinkedIn to hire. Get started by posting your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
Jake Asman in for Chris Carlin.
Oh, my God!
Great conversation there with Q-Tip. You could tell he's a real fan if he's breaking down the Jets' battle at safety, and he's mentioning some players that only the diehard fans would really know. If you missed any of the conversation, you can either rewind on the YouTube for the show, on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, or we will podcast it on the Carlin podcast page. Some Giants news to hit before we get to a little audio files with Tom Bauer. The Giants have signed a new player, a running back. Najee Harris has agreed to a one-year deal, according to Ian Rappaport. So Najee Harris was with the Chargers last year. He tore his Achilles, so his season ended. Now he's been cleared. He's fully healthy, and he signed with the Giants. So we have sound yesterday from Harbaugh. Tom, did you plan on playing this in audio files? If you did, I won't play it now. If you didn't, I'll play it. You produce on the fly. You tell me.
You know, I think we kick off audio files with it. How about that?
Let's do it. Hit it.
The audio file.
Yeah, on the fly producing.
There we go.
Look at Jake Asman.
That's what Bill O'Reilly meant when he famously said, "F it, we'll do it live." That's what we just did.
Well, let's do it live indeed. John Harbaugh spoke about Najee Harris visiting yesterday, or whenever he visited.
Yeah, I felt like the hair on the back of my neck stood up when I saw him over there, and it's a big dude. Yes, he's coming back from the Achilles injury he had with my brother, and he looks good in the workout. He's not back 100%. He's not in football shape yet. So if we are able to do something, it'll be a process. But that would be a guy, that has got a lot of experience. He's a decorated vet. With those guys, generally, you just have to kind of see where they're at when you get them. And sometimes it works out great. Sometimes it's just okay, and other times it doesn't work out. So, but based on the workout, I would say we feel like he's got a shot. And we'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, he definitely got a shot because that one-year deal is official now, according to Ian Rappaport and Mike Garofalo of NFL Network. Does this scare Tyrone Tracy at all for missing his block of Jaxson Dart the other day?
Oh, his days are numbered now, Tom Bauer. Watch out. By the way, wouldn't you call that breaking news presented by Boost Mobile?
I mean, I think that could be classified as breaking news presented by Boost Mobile.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. Boost Mobile, don't overpay. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever, for life, for real. Switch now at boostmobile.com. See, that's called producing on the fly. Bill O'Reilly, F it, we'll do it live. We've done it again, Tom Bauer.
Also making me switch graphics on the fly while audio files is going on. How about that?
Wow, multi-versatile. Tom Bauer, talking, producing, switching graphics.
It's about the only thing I'm good at. What Kyle Brandt is good at is stirring up conversation among Jets fans, because last week, I believe it was, he was talking about Jets optimism, and the optimism continues. He had something new, maybe a suggestion even for Jets fans on NFL Network. He offered them a scenario that, Jake, we're going to see if Jets fans would take.
My friend Will Parkinson is all over the Jets. He talks about them morning, noon, and night, his podcasts and different platforms. So I enlist a Jets fan friend. I'm like, I could easily watch the game from my perspective, but I want the real grassroots, man of the people type perspective. How do you feel about the Jets this year? And his first response is like, well, we got 3 1s in 2027 and $100 million in cap space. I'm like, all right. I know. What about this year? If I were to slide you across the table a deal for the Jets this year, and that deal, when you turn it over, says 7-10, would you take 7-10? And he's like, well, do the young players look good on defense? I say, yes. Can we get 3 divisional wins out of that 7-10? I'm like, fine. He's like, yeah, hell yes, I would take 7-10. And this is a guy who is optimistic about the Jets. And I'm always saying in August, shoot for the stars. Say you're going to go 9-8 and sneak a wild card. No, I have it from the authority of true voice of the New York Jets that if the young players look good and there's 3 divisional wins, which is a lot, 7-10 would be a victorious season for them. I think it's being a little modest. I think they could be better.
So let's make a deal here, Jake. Do you take that deal that Kyle Brandt is offering you?
Just on the surface, what I heard there, no deal. I would not take that deal. Here's why. Not all 7-win seasons are created equal. Adam Gase won 7 games his first year. He started 1-7. Robert Saleh won 7 games twice without a quarterback. Give me 9-8. Brian Daboll went 9-7-1 with Daniel Jones as his quarterback, right? I want to see real improvement. 7 wins. I'm sorry. Oh, but Jake, they more than doubled their win total from last year. They shouldn't have been as bad as they were last year. They should not have been a 3-win team. On one hand, if you told me the 3 division wins were, you got 1 against New England, 1 against Buffalo. I guess you split with the Dolphins. All right, you won a couple games you're not supposed to. The younger players look good. Like, I could paint a positive 7-10, but to me, signing up for 7-10 is too risky because there's soft 7-10s. I've seen this a lot with the Jets. I don't want to just settle for 7 wins. Not in a league where there's turnover every year. There's parity every year. There's 6 teams on average that don't make the playoffs that make it the previous year. Just saying, yep, 7-10, I'd love it. Like, there's a scenario where that's not awful. That's putting a lot of faith in it playing out exactly that way. There's soft 7-10s. They could be at 6 wins going into the last game of the year, facing the Bills' backups, resting for the postseason, and win that game and hurt their draft positioning. Would you settle for that one? I wouldn't. So I got to see what it looks like.
Jake Asman, not a settler. He's a go-getter. That's what I'm taking out of that conversation.
I want the Jets to either be god-awful or surprise and be competitive in the hunt, have a chance to win 9 games, and maybe be the 7th seed in the AFC playoffs. If they're going to be around 6 or 7 wins, that does nothing for me. I'd rather win 3 or 4 and just be god-awful and get the top pick and figure out my coach and quarterback from there.
I'll tell you what, does Geno Smith do anything for you?
Does he do anything in what?
Does he provide you optimism? Do you think he gets you over that 7-win?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, does he do anything for me? Like, does he get me going? You know?
I mean, you can answer that question too.
No to that, and no to really having a ton of optimism. I will say this for Geno. If there was ever an opportunity for him to resurrect his career, it's with the Jets over what happened with the Raiders. They have players. They have an offensive line. They have weapons. They got a veteran offensive coordinator. If not now, then never for Geno. He's done. He'll never start again. It'll be a career backup from this point going forward.
Well, let's see if any of what Geno has to say today gives you any optimism. Hey, Geno, how's the ankle feeling there?
Getting better every day. Getting better.
Good for you.
I'm back in. All right. After hearing Geno say his ankle's getting better, I take everything I said back, and I am now a believer in Geno Smith, and I agree with the head coach. He will take us to the promised land, which Glenn was then asked a couple weeks ago what that meant, and he still wouldn't give an answer. So the promised land, I think, could be whatever you want it to be. It could be the number 1 pick in the draft. It could be the playoffs. It could be the Super Bowl. Well, Geno Smith's taking us to the promised land.
Just remember, big ships, they turn slow. Unless the ship is the Titanic, then it crashes into an iceberg. But Geno Smith, the quarterback, we'll see what we get. Geno Smith, the leader. Are you guiding Cade Klubnik at all? And how's he looking in camp?
You know, I wouldn't say guide him, but, you know, my job is definitely to help all the guys and to help my teammates, you know, get better. You know, I feel like Cade has done a tremendous job since day one at picking up the offense, at going out there and executing and learning with every rep. And so we talk a lot in meetings. We talk a lot on the field. And when he asks for my insight, I'm always willing to share it to him. So, like I said, he's done a great job, and he asks all the right questions. And I think as a quarterback, you have to learn through experience. And I think that's something that he's gaining right now.
I think the Cade Brigade is heating up.
Yeah, Carlin's been going with Cade Brigade. I prefer Chubb to Club or Chubb for Club, but look, Cade Klubnik, he better play more than just 7, or better have more than just 7 pass attempts on Friday is all I'm going to say on him. But good for Geno. He's mature. He's doing the right thing, mentoring him and all that. We'll see. Here's the rule of thumb with the Jets. There's always more than one quarterback that starts games for them. So we will see Klubnik at some point, and I don't think he's going to be able to do enough in any scenario where he's their guy. And you wouldn't draft a quarterback, but maybe he's competing with a rookie in a positive scenario, and you don't have to play that rookie right away. So I hope he continues to get reps and look good, and he earns the backup opportunity. He's not just handed to him.
Now let's change things up a little bit and go to the other football team that's in New York, the New York Football Giants, of course that is. And Michael Kay, the great Michael Kay, coming on at 1 o'clock today.
He's on the radio today, and he's not afraid to say what he's thinking today, I hear.
That's right. Joe Schoen, he was on with him yesterday, and Michael asked Joe Schoen, is there a win total for you this season that constitutes a successful year?
Yeah, not specifically. The expectation, and Coach Harbaugh has said this, every Sunday we go out there, the expectations to win. And, again, I like the players that we have on the team, the core nucleus of young players, some of the veterans that have been here for a while, mixed in with some of the guys that we signed, in the offseason with – Isaiah Likely, he played well the other night, a guy that we brought in, another vet, Patrick Ricard, some of these guys that we brought in from Baltimore that understand the culture that, Coach Harbaugh was able to build there and help implement here. And so I think it's a good mix of players between youth and vets, DJ Reader, Shelby Harris, 2 other vets that we brought in. So, between the experienced coaching staff, the mix of youth and vets on the team, I'm excited to see how this team continues to come together and, what we're going to look like on that Sunday night opener against the Cowboys.
So here's another important question that Michael posed to Joe Schoen. Will you be playing meaningful games in December?
Yeah, I think this team certainly can. Again, we'll see how it comes together, and again, whatever I say doesn't really matter. We got to go out and do it, but I do think there's the makings of a good football team here, and again, we just got to come together and continue to gel as a group. And every team has its every year is different, and every team has its different strengths and weaknesses. And until we get out there, and how do we respond when we're up 14 points, and how do we respond if we're down 14? How are we going to overcome adversity? When bad things happen, how are we going to respond? The resiliency of the team. So there's a lot of intricacies in evaluating the team and how we're going to respond in certain situations. So all that is still to be seen. And again, but I do like the makeup of the team, the leadership, the veterans and the young guys. I think it's a really good mix.
Oh,
Jake,
come on.
your thoughts.
That's 52 seconds, so that last cut we'll never get back. Will you be playing meaningful games in December? You say yes, Joe. You say yes. That's the goal. How many years you been here now? The head coach has won at least 8 games, and every year of his career out of 18 of them besides one. The answer is yes. We could have moved on. Yes, we will play meaningful games in December. They better. I don't think you're asking for that much if you're a Giant fan to expect that. That's the bare minimum. Be in the hunt in the month of December. Their schedule's really tough at the end of the year. There's enough wins, I think, before then for them to be in the mix. The answer needs to emphatically be yes. The Giants will be relevant in December. Joe Schoen killed audio files. That's what he did there. He used too much of the audio that he actually sunk the remainder of the segment. That's what happened there. Hey, John Harbaugh, you guys going to play meaningful games in December this year?
Pretty clear cut, right?
You would think, but I don't know.
I don't know. I should have asked, by the way, Connor Hughes last hour when we had him about little Renan. You guys see that on Twitter? People making Jordan Renan bite-sized, like miniature. You see any of that going on, Ray? You haven't been following that saga? I regret not asking Connor that.
No, I don't do the social media stuff.
You're not on Twitter at all?
I have an account, but I don't ever look at it because there's really nothing great on there.
Yeah. Well, depends what you want to see.
I want to see more Lil Jordan Renan because I thought those memes were funny.
So you've seen it, Tom. Thank you.
Oh, I've seen them in plenty.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Good job, Tom. That's Audio Files. Coming up, we wrap up our show. One segment to go. Last chance to get in. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Chris Carlin till 1 o'clock here on ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. This summer, I made a decision. Instead of just living with my pain, I wanted to find out what was actually causing it. That's why I went to see Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. What I liked right away was his approach. He takes the time to understand what's going on and builds a treatment plan that's right for you without jumping straight to surgery. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, or joint pain, it's worth having the conversation. With offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, getting care is convenient no matter where you are. Go to samwellpain.com to learn more or schedule an appointment.
D'Agostino Law Bite Back. This is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates. Did you know Social Security takes money out of every paycheck you earn, paycheck after paycheck, and you're not supposed to touch that money until you're 67? What if you can't work? What if you need that money now? The system is challenging and most people get denied. That's a fact. D'Agostino & Associates has the experience to win, and we win a lot. If you filed for Social Security disability benefits and were denied, let us appeal. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. Bite back means fight back. 1-800-248-3222. We'll fight to get you paid. D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and handles Social Security disability claims and appeals. Remember, if you've been denied, call us first. 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. D'Agostino & Associates. We win a lot.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
This is the DiPietro and Rothenberg Rewind.
I was under the impression that yesterday was Giants Day at the station, and every show got different members of the Giants but us.
That's right.
I can only look at this and assume it's me. It's the only possible answer. And maybe I turn them off. And you'd think that maybe I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I don't love them. You know what? Now I love them more.
Oh, no.
You know what it's like? It's like that girl that you have such a crush and you want to go on a date with her so bad, and she gives you the Heisman, and your guys are like, now you done? No. Now I'm doubling down. Now I really love them.
I think the problem might be you scare them.
I think that's very possible.
I think that the way you just described it, I think there's a real chance you frighten them.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off. And you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Jake has been in for Chris Carlin. Appreciate everyone who's listened to our show. So earlier this hour, we had the legend himself, Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, hip-hop legend, musical genius, and I noticed a couple of people in the chat and my brother all had the same takeaway hearing Q-Tip speak. They said that Q-Tip sounds exactly like Ty Butler, and Ty is in for Carlin tomorrow. So people might be confused saying, is Q-Tip hosting the show for Carlin, right? Well, we have here, courtesy of Tom Bauer's greatness, audio from each, and you tell me if you notice what the audience seemingly picked up on, that the great Ty D. Butler and Q-Tip sound exactly the same. First, here's Q-Tip.
We're going to get 9, 10 wins this year, guys. Let's go.
And apologies in advance, Ty. Here is Ty Butler.
Siding on the Haskelaff full approach.
For the record, I didn't choose the soundbite. I'll play it again. Here's Q-Tip.
We're going to get 9, 10 wins this year, guys. Let's go.
And here's Ty Butler.
Siding on the Haskelaff full approach.
I hear it. I hear it a lot. It's funny because Ty already looks exactly like Mikal Bridges. So he looks like Mikal Bridges and sounds like Q-Tip. It's a pretty good combination of New York legends, right? I mean, that's pretty good. Now, did you notice it in real time, Ray? Because you've done plenty of shows with Ty over these years. You obviously heard the Q-Tip interview. Did you notice the resemblance, or is this the first you're hearing of it?
Nah, I mean, there's a slight resemblance, but I wouldn't say they sound alike.
Can I get more Ty drops that we have potentially? I think that drop did him dirty here. Because I noticed that my brother texted me. He goes, I've been listening to the show. I cannot believe how much Q-Tip sounds like Ty Butler. My brother Zach sent me that text. And I saw it in the chat as well. Maybe tomorrow, or actually I'm not filling in tomorrow. Next time I'm on, which will be Saturday, I'll have Ty on pretending to be Q-Tip. We'll see if the audience notices.
Here's some more Ty for you.
I'm like, what was Jacob doing last night? And bam, hit you right in the face.
Here's some more.
It usually comes out the way that it goes in.
Oh, that's concerning.
Do we have any more Q-Tip to play to compare it to? The chat is saying those two clips don't do the similarities justice.
Let's see what else I got from Q-Tip.
You feel it.
That sounds like optimism.
We do feel it.
Let's see. He also is mocking the Yes Network for when they used a bad photo of him.
That photo's horrible.
And that's about it, unless you want me to play a song.
Well, I don't know if that would really work. It was more than when they were speaking. All right, so let me ask you this then, Tom Bauer. Does Ty Butler look more like Mikal Bridges or sound more like Q-Tip?
That's a great that is such a great question.
Run it up the poll.
Yeah, you know what? We got a few minutes left. We're going to put it in the poll. But for my vote, I'm going to go with the Mikal Bridges thing.
I probably would go with Bridges, too, because there's one photo that Jake Montgomery posted of Bridges side by side and Ty side by side, both wearing Knicks jerseys. And I could not believe the similarities. It was incredible. But they definitely do sound alike. Go back and listen to the Q-Tip interview for those of you who are just tuning in. 800-919-3776. Couple minutes left. Michael K's coming up at the top of the hour. Maybe he'll have some information on this Max Fried injury because I was having a great day yesterday. Carlos Rodon's coming back. Oh, we finally get to see this Yankee rotation whole. And then you find out Fried is going back on the injured list. 15-day, but what does that really mean? It's a left elbow bone bruise, the same exact injury that he had the last time he went on the shelf. Missed 9 weeks last time. Is it possible he's done for the year? That has to obviously be in play, right? And it's so disappointing because they've been building him back up in the major leagues because they needed him. And he's pitched really, really well. In 5 starts since he's come off the IL, his ERA is 1.82. And the one thing the Yankees have, this team cannot score any runs. They are inept offensively, but their superpower is their pitching, especially the starting rotation. And the idea of going into a playoff series, a best of 3 potentially, where it's Schlittler, Cole, and Fried as your 3, you'd have a chance, even if you can't score more than 3 runs at the most. 2 runs. I'm not saying they still don't have good pitching. They obviously do. Fried's missed time this year, and they still pitched well. Rodon clearly has missed time. They still pitched well. Cole was out at the beginning of the year. Schlittler's been the only guy who's been in the rotation all year that's done his thing. And you hope the, Ryan, Weathers, revelation that we've seen in his last 5 outings is legit. But still, you'd rather Max Fried, who's pitched a closeout game in Game 6 of the World Series against the Astros, winning a championship. So it's tough. Fried's ERA this year is 2.81 in 15 starts. Clark Schmidt's going to be back soon. Can Clark Schmidt go out there and play a role out of the pen? Again, the Yankee strategy of just, hey, we need these guys to get healthy. The problem with that all along is you assume that no one else gets hurt along the way. This is not MLB The Show where you could just turn off injuries. We get Judge back, we get Stanton back, we get Bellinger back, we get Rodon back, but then nobody else gets hurt. That's not realistic. Every year, or all year in this year in particular, everyone keeps getting hurt. And that obviously hasn't changed here. But they're going to have to figure out, I think, in addition to the rotation now, what exactly the plan is for the back end of the pen. Bednar's excellent. Hedrick's been great, but he's up to 63 appearances this season. Fernando Cruz is struggling. He's got an ERA over 5 his last 12 games. And while Clark Schmidt hasn't been a reliever since 2022, at least he's had experience there. Could he play a factor? Warren hasn't consistently pitched out of the bullpen since he was in college. Maybe in the playoffs at the end of the day, Weathers is still that guy because he's been a reliever more recently than those 2 I mentioned, and he's got great stuff. But the way he's pitching right now, and now you don't have Fried, I'm sorry, I'm just going to ride the hot hand if Weathers could go out there and do his thing because unlike some, I don't trust Carlos Rodon. I don't. I remember him getting tattooed in the playoffs last year. I just don't trust him in big games. He makes me very nervous. Now they need him. And let's hope no one else gets hurt along the way. We're waiting for all these guys to come back. Hopefully no one else gets hurt in the whole process here. And that's really the big thing now for this Yankees team. But they resume their season tonight in Baltimore against the Orioles, who are right there for the wild card in an American League that is as bad as I can ever remember. Where right now you have multiple teams tied for the last wild card spot with an under 500 record. 61-64 are the Orioles. 61-64 are the Rangers. 61-64 are the Tigers. And the Twins are a half game out. The Blue Jays, a half game out. 61-65 a pop. The Guardians, they're not any good. They're 60-65. They're one out. It's awful. The American League is awful. And yet here are the Yankees. And yes, I get it. Injuries, all that. How are you 6 games behind the Rays? How are the Rays 6 games better than every team in the American League? It's crazy. $89 million payroll. Nuts. But we'll see how Rodon looks tonight as he's back and you lose Fried. Let's see if Rodon could give the Yankees a good start. And, I mean, the question is, will the Yankees be able to score at least 3 runs? If the answer is yes, they probably will win. If the answer is no, well, that's been what we've been watching for the last 2.5 months already. So I would not expect a whole lot to change over these 3 against the Orioles. That said, Michael Kay will have plenty more to say on this very topic, I'd imagine. He's coming up next. Big thank you to Tom Bauer and to Ray Dinahan for producing. Thank you to Chris Carlin for taking vacation so I could get this shift. It was magical. Ty Butler's in tomorrow. Michael Kay's coming up next. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for listening, everyone. The K-Stir up next right here on ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a